How you know that's not especially recent is that all my fantasy team names these days are 50 USDC. I mean, you should know that if you pay close attention.
Long may that run.
Hashtag age of majority.
Right.
Well, we have Olympics. We have men's hockey coming up shortly. USA versus Latvia. We had the Canadians win today, 5-0. We, of course, have curling. You know what's been interesting to me so far these Olympics as a viewer is I don't know exactly why this is. It's got to have something to do with the time difference, like that these events are going in the morning when I'm generally available to watch it, is every morning now there's curling, hockey, or both. And I'm not watching any of the big stuff yet. I've seen no skiing at all, no skating, and I'm not sure that's going to change. I think I'm getting my fill before prime time. And the prime time thing is all, taped anyway. Anything you're watching at night on NBC is over.
But, I mean, I guess if you know the result, if that ruins it for you, you could still watch if you're not dipping into any of that other stuff as it's going on live in the morning because you're watching curling or hockey, then you could still watch it and it would be new. At least the competition would be new.
I think it's changed for me now over the years of this where more and more of the results come out. I mean, we're announcing names of skiers and skaters that no one has ever heard before, like that the name means anything. I think as I get to 8 o'clock at night, I don't have any use for it. Like, I know it's over. I think maybe 10 years ago or 20, I was more in tune with that. I didn't care about curling at all. 10 years ago, the pros were not at the Olympics for hockey. I didn't really care about that as much. And so I think I'm getting enough out of what I, am consuming before I leave work. Maybe that'll change. And there's other circumstances that play into that. Like, nobody's home at night in my house anymore. Everybody's at sports.
Yeah.
So nobody wants to. My kids have never been the type to want to watch, anything, let alone maybe Teen Wolf.
Teen Wolf, we're going with.
My daughter will watch the Teen Wolf series, but my kids they're on their own stuff. They're not watching the Olympics. They don't care if they're watching it. They're watching for like something funny.
Yeah.
Through TikTok, maybe.
I hear you. Definitely. I mean, the fact that you are so dialed in on the curling, I mean, that's what you enjoy. You enjoy it all year round, it seems to me.
For sure.
So, and it seems like that's on every day. I was joking around, I think, last week. Was this going to be like, it was last week before even the opening ceremonies, like the only things that seemed like they were going on were curling matches.
Started last Wednesday.
Right. But if that's going to take your attention because that's what you enjoy, then, you're going to watch that. I'm watching most mornings, and I guess I'm interested in what NBC at night decides is like the marquee event of the night. Like, what's the thing? How are they going to present what I may have already watched earlier?
They even have a brand of that, like the event of the day or something like that.
That's why I said it that way. Yeah. Often when you go to that channel, the primetime channel, like maybe right before it starts at 8 o'clock, because I've been there waiting a few different times. Just like there's no live stuff going on any of the other platforms.
Well, you're not even watching Final Jeopardy to move over?
Usually not, no.
Ignore that?
And so I'm there, and like they'll tell you, like, oh, the event of the night is brought to you by yada, 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 whatever. I'm still interested enough to see what they think the primetime audience wants to see. Usually that's a heavy emphasis on Americans, of course, and it seems figure skating a lot. If there's figure skating, they're going to make sure they get you that because that's always a draw.
Well, aren't you interested in sort of the math behind that?
Yeah, that's what
who's available to watch during the day?
That's what I mean. Yeah, like why are the choices made as
What
they are. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I also will watch the figure skating. It's not my, I mean, obviously, I barely know a quad from a triple or, and technically I'm like, you need to really screw up. Like snow needs to go flying or you need to crash into the boards for me to know that you made a mistake, right? When I'm watching figure skating mostly.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm not there to but I like Tara Lipinski and Johnny Weir a lot. Like, so they're there, and I find their commentary as good as any sports commentary there is, even though maybe it works best because I don't know anything about the competition or if they want to get into the details about what mistake cost somebody a fraction of a point or whatever in their score. I'm going to respect that and pay attention to it. Not like if Chris Collinsworth or Gene Steratore wants to tell me that wasn't a catch. I'm going to have my own opinion about it, and that's going to make me nuts. I like the commentary, especially with figure skating. So I'll watch the primetime thing just for that myself. But I'm dipping around. I watched the gold medal mixed curling match yesterday, but mostly I'm in for the luge and I've watched all the skiing that I've had access to. I didn't look at any today because, well, there was a hockey game at 10:40, and I started that for me is curling. I'm going to watch that. Everything. Well,
imagine having both.
Right, exactly. Then
there goes the luge.
That would dominate your day. Yeah. So I mean, I get why you're consuming it the way you are.
I don't know what I'm doing at night except driving places.
Right. That's it.
I really don't. Yeah. And I'm not even, as qualified to say that as my wife is. But yeah, it hasn't happened yet. I would have told you, looking forward to the games, that this is when. Like it's a certain cooking show maybe when we sort of bond and watch big air and ski races and even skating, which is tougher for me.
Like for instance,
that has not happened.
I know already, and I do I wish I didn't know? Yeah, I'd rather not know what I'm about to say, but I do, and I'm going to say it because, like you were already alluding to, I think the gloves are off of the idea of like harboring results anymore. It's just everything's out there, and it's not like it was years ago when, even years ago, NBC, before they had all these other platforms they have now, I think USA is on all day, like until 8 o'clock at night when NBC takes over. I think they're on from, I don't know how early it starts, but I think it might be 5 in the morning that they are airing events. But I happened to see on the first or second day of the competition, like Saturday or Sunday afternoon, this Italian speed skater, Lola Brigida. I think her first name is Stefania, if I'm not mistaken. And she won a gold medal, and it was really dramatic because it was a longer race, and the announcers sort of were counting her out halfway through, and then she just kind of went off and won, and her little 1-year-old son is there, and it was awesome. It was really felt good. Home crowd, all that. She won another gold today. And I am definitely going to want to get home tonight and watch that. I hope it's presented on some platform tonight. I imagine it will be, but I don't know. She's not American. But it was like the first, the Olympics are awesome moment I had during these Olympics. So I want to see her win again. But do I wish I didn't know that she won? I could just watch it without knowing. That would be better.
I think there's a gradual effect or impact that all of this has on what you have an appetite for in the end, at night, in this case. And it's also combined with, it might be sort of combined with your age and how, many things are out there left to impress you or whatever it is. But, yeah, it's interesting for me to think about that, too. USA-Latvia just starts. Handicap this tournament. So Canada wins today 5-0 over the Czechs, the men I'm talking about. USA with Tage Thompson just getting underway. Canada was the favorite, I'm sure still is, over US second. What are our chances as you see it?
I would think at least decent, if not better than that.
Better than a coin flip against Canada?
No, I didn't know what
tournament.
In the tournament to win it? No, I think that's a coin flip. Them in Canada to me is a coin flip. But to me, I don't know. I'm not assuming they're both going to make it. You know, I mean, Canada, that was a grind for a while. It ended up 5-0. But the first period was very competitive, and Canada scored extremely late to take a 1-0 lead into the locker room, like inside 10 seconds left in period one. And then they just kind of gradually pulled away, and it ended up 5-0. But I think already, even the fact that Sweden, for half the game or more, was in tough with Italy, I think it's going to be a really competitive tournament. And I'm not just assuming Canada and the U.S. will make it to the gold medal game. But I would expect one of them will win the tournament. But to me, there could be an upset.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Sorry.
They celebrated temporarily. That was Thompson's line too.
Yeah. Larkin.
Yeah.
So you would, yes or no? You would bet on a USA-Canada final or no? What's the better bet?
Well, the odds are you're not getting plus money for that. I don't think like if you can choose.
No, I'm asking you just straight up.
Yeah, that I think is the most likely outcome. I'm just not assuming.
Is it better than 50-50? USA versus Canada.
I don't think I want to say that. No. I know it's hockey. You know, I mean, if a Swedish goaltender has a hot day in the semis or something against somebody, they could knock Canada or the U.S. out.
Is Arturs Urbe still playing for Latvia?
I don't believe so.
Because he's done that.
No, we've got Elvis Merzlikins is the Latvian goaltender here.
Of course he is. Gergensons is on this Latvian team?
Gergensons is centering their top line. Or at least the way the lines were presented, you know, that I saw. Like he was up top.
Is their coach Mike Sullivan, by the way, saying we don't number our lines?
I don't know.
Is he saying that like,
don't know.
Coaches do?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, here's to it. USA and Latvia was not a goal. Larkin put one right, just basically through the crease along the line, but did not go in. And that's Larkin, Thompson, and who else would be on that line? I don't know. But 2.5 minutes in, we'll keep you posted, USA, Latvia, because some of you are places where you can't see this game.
Perhaps, yeah. I thought, for what it's worth, the Canada Czechia game, Slovakia was yesterday, was really hot. Like it was, to me, the stage is set for this to live up to the hype that the Four Nations tournament created. And it stands to reason. A lot of people thought this way after Four Nations last year, like not having best-on-best hockey for as long as we didn't have it in the Olympics or in a staged event like last year's Four Nations, was that you've had a whole generation of guys who've not had an opportunity to do this. And, you know, it sort of flows into a point I made yesterday and that I was making 5 years ago all the time. The game's never been better. You've got so much speed and talent, and now you've got those guys on a sheet of ice playing one another. And even if it's just Czech Republic, who, you know, doesn't have, I mean, they've got stars on their team. Pasternak is on that team. You know, you got names from the league. There are also guys that don't play in the NHL, unlike Canada and the U.S. But even with that, it to me was, for a while there, just up and down the ice, like incredible. So my expectations for what this tournament is going to be are extremely high. Kyle Connor, by the way, I believe is the other member of the line you mentioned with Thompson and Larkin. They're back out on the ice now.
Well, I love this for what's the perfect age for a player in this tournament, an NHL player in this tournament, 25 maybe, where they can remember 14 is the last year where the pros were there, so 12 years ago. 25, 12, 13 years old. Uh-huh. Like, you would be old enough. Those guys probably were well into their youth hockey careers by then and would know it. Maybe that's around the perfect age, or even a little younger. The guys like Celebrini for Canada might not have any memory of the pros in the Olympics, and now here he is one, and he scored the first goal.
Yeah, he was
for Canada.
Maybe he was math quickly 5 years old the last time they played. I mean, he's
18.
He's maybe 19, so it might be off a year.
Yeah,
there.
Right.
But either way, you probably don't remember that. You know, he might have some memory of seeing it, but he's not going to be able to tell you, I remember this goal or whatever, because you're 5.
I mean, they're players and we're fans, but that's what's really different is that some of these guys would have almost no memory of the pros being there, and they would think it's like almost brand new.
Mm-hmm.
And they would know that it isn't, but still. And, you and I are thinking about 1980, watching Team USA with these uniforms on, maybe like just pre-NHL players playing in it. I watched the Dominic Hasek movie last night that the Sabres made, and I really loved it. I was just completely a fan of the quality of it. I mean, Dom, maybe you remember him this way, or maybe you don't at all, but he loves to talk. I think, like the Dominator, everything about him is indomitable. Like he's got his old coach, his best friend, Musial, who played in the NHL, other acquaintances, and Dom just does all the talking for them. I don't really remember that. Well, let me tell you how it was. Like he's tough. Like his drive, his talent. The thing, was it soccer? Where he said how when he was a kid playing soccer at school, everybody else went in to eat lunch and he would not go in for lunch because he just loved being on the field. And so he would just stay on the field and basically outwork everybody is really what it was. And so the movie was really well done. Credit to everybody involved with that. I wanted my wife to see the Olympics part because she doesn't know anything about that. And they didn't do a lot with that. I think because maybe they couldn't. I'm curious to know. All the Sabre highlights they could get their hands on were in there. But none of the Olympic highlights really, or maybe just a couple of quick shots.
Interesting.
I went to YouTube today to see if, the Olympics are notoriously tough on copyright stuff. Like you might not see anything on Twitter from these games because they come after you. But I went to see if the shootout was on YouTube, and it is.
All right.
I'm not sure it's anything official. Some broadcast, though, I watched maybe for the first time today.
Oh, wow. I
certainly didn't watch it when it happened.
Yeah.
And when were you going to get replays of it? Living in Rochester, by the way, not even with CBC access in 1998. You can name the 5 players in the shootout or no?
Oh, no, I don't have it memorized. Brady Tkachuk has given the USA a 1-0 lead. Wrist shot from the right side of the slot.
I'd review that.
Beatmer's looking clean. They're not gonna if the puck is dropping. No, I don't. The most notable thing about it is that Gretzky didn't get an opportunity to shoot, and so that I think a lot of hockey fans know that. I know Shanahan is in there. I think Shanahan is the last save. I'm pretty sure.
Yes.
Because I remember Dom's reaction and seeing Shanahan skating off to the right and Dom celebrating.
Jumping up and down.
I know Eric Lindros is in it. I don't think I can tell you the other 3.
So I think it's Reichel for the Czechs.
That's correct.
Who scores on the first go for them.
Ooh, okay.
So it's 1-0 after 1 round. It's a 5-round shootout. No one else scores again. The Canadians are Theo Fleury, Ray Bourque, Joe Nieuwendyk, Eric Lindros, and Brendan Shanahan. And I'm sure that I knew the Gretzky thing, but over the many years, I had come to think that Gretzky was in it. And I was waiting for him. Mm-hmm. But no, you're right. Like, that was the thing, right? That he didn't
it was a big
get
deal
a turn.
That he didn't go. Yeah.
Even though he was pretty old by then.
Yeah.
And he wasn't breakaway guy either.
Right. I mean, there was a case to be made that you aren't putting him in it, but it's Wayne Gretzky, and it's the Olympics, and it's a shootout. I mean,
Well, this is me when it comes to Jeff Skinner in the 13th round of every shootout San Jose plays in. Like, when? I mean, if not now, when? But his memory was outstanding. I mean, everything about the movie was really good. And, I mean, these two teams, that just it barely scratches the surface for great names. I mean, Czechs are Jágr, Spacek.
Right.
And there's a Spacek on this team.
Yeah, and they mentioned, I think Yarrow was a 3-time Olympian, they said during the game today. I'm pretty sure I heard that. I didn't fact check it.
Is this his son?
I believe so, yes. I think that's why it came up. 2-0 now. I think that's Quinn Hughes, maybe, with the shot. Yeah, another wrist shot from the slot. So 2-0 U.S. early here. It's like 7 or 8 minutes in. I believe his son is on the Czech team.
Number 7 defenseman.
Yeah.
Didn't Spacek might have worn 6 here.
I think 6 was the number he wore here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you've seen this movie then.
No, I have not. The Dom movie, no, I have not yet. I've seen clips of it. Like I saw like a longish trailer, maybe 3 minutes worth of stuff. And I am very much looking forward to watching it, but I'm being consumed by the Olympic. I want to watch the new Miracle doc too. I've not done that yet on Netflix. So those things are on the list for sure. The thing I did like about the movie, I'm just nodding along as you're talking, is of the trailer I saw. And I'm waiting to just say how impressed I was with Dom. Like, the name of the movie is Always the Goalie, which I wonder if they came into the idea of making this with that as a title, or once they got going, realized that would be a good title. Because one of the clips I saw of it is Hasek talking about playing soccer with his father, with his uncle, and with classmates. And no, always the goalie. I always played goalie, and there's pictures of him as a really little kid playing soccer, and he's in the net. Like, that's just, he always gravitated to wanting to be the goalie, and I just thought that was so cool. Like, what a great story. Like, I never tried the other stuff. I always just wanted to be the goalie.
It's definitely part of the story. His parents are in it. Dom.
Good.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm distracted by what looks like an offsides review.
Well, finally, Latvia is getting smart reviewing goals.
On the second
Why wouldn't
US
you just
goal.
review goals?
Right.
There's got to be something you can find. We'll see. So 1-0 or 2-0, we'll find out eventually.
TBD.
The fans are excited about this review, I'm sure. This is what you paid for.
Yeah, the crowd's roaring while this review is
Who doesn't love a review?
ongoing.
Okay, well, again, recommended on YouTube. Or maybe it's better if you go to the Sabres website. I don't know. But it's really good, the Hasek movie. Always the goalie. He was. I liked how he talked about how his dad made his blocker. That was pretty cool with his dad sitting there, like, got him pads and then glove, and then how I forget how, but he somehow made the blocker.
I can't wait to see that.
And for me, the blocker is like the quintessential Dominic Hasek piece of equipment, where he's like on his left side, sprawling, and he raises up his right arm and makes a save with the blocker or the shaft of the stick or something, crazy like that.
Or even throwing it at Peter Bondra, which I think happened.
In the movie.
Oh, that's in the movie.
That's
too?
in the movie.
Good.
That's right. All right, no goal. Still 1-0. Good for all involved that didn't count. We will talk football. Matt Perino joining us later on. Paul Hamilton. The men lead Latvia 1-0 first period at the Olympics. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here at 803-0550. Have a thought you've been holding back or just have not had the opportunity to share with us on the season, on the Super Bowl, anything of the sort? We'll look for it when we return and then go from there. Thanks for listening. This is WGR.
have been playing pretty much every other day or every third day in the NHL, they just had 5 days off. That is massive. That actually feels like 3 weeks to 4 weeks when you have that many days off. They have more time in between games. They're not traveling in between games, and they're in that euphoric Olympic village with all these other athletes. They're going to be on a high and ride a high through the entire event because it's short and all those dynamics.
Look who it is. Don Granato.
Nice to hear his voice on the station again.
This morning. Reminds me of one time many years ago with Ron McLean. 2 days in a row for Ron McLean mentions. And he was in some sort of a brouhaha over comments he made that were political. And he was doing a regular appearance with us. And I introduced him one time, and he said something like, "Hey, Mike, so good to know you're still talking to me," which was brilliant. I don't know. What is Granato up to?
I don't know. I did not hear the entire appearance, and I didn't think to ask my son when he came home earlier. Like, he said we had Don Granato on today, and it was awesome. And maybe the text had all caps in it, but I'm not sure what Granato was up to.
No. Good for him.
But he's coached a lot of these guys coming up in the national team development program. That's where he first knew Tage Thompson.
Right.
So a lot of other guys would have been a part of those teams when he was there. So
1-1, USA and Latvia. It was 2-0. Now it's 1.
Right.
1-1.
Yeah. Just as we went to break there, Latvia got a goal off a kind of a wild scramble in front. Not that wild. Whatever. Puck was just kind of bouncing around in there.
So, Bills, I was thinking of this, and apologies up front for this not being more original. The receiver thing that we obsess about all the time, what we haven't really, mostly at least, dug our collective teeth into yet is whether we think it's going to change. And we've certainly gone round and round on that before and used different bases of evidence for like why it will or why they meant to change it or why they didn't. That's Amari Cooper. That's all kinds of different examples. But no more Sean McDermott. Does that matter? Joe Brady still here. Whatever else you would want to put into the soup here on this one. What they can do in free agency, what they can do in the draft, what they can do in a trade. What do you think about where this is headed? Yesterday we talked to Sal, and Sal, the first name maybe he mentioned as a cut candidate is Curtis Samuel. Okay, well, not looking at the salary cap ramifications of that, I'll defer to Sal. Sure. Not like he really did anything for them anyway in 2 years. So, okay, I get it. Shakir, yes. Coleman, probably. Then what?
Palmer's under contract.
Palmer.
And
forgetting the name Joshua Palmer.
I know. He's a little like this was Samuel for me last year, his first year here with the Bills. I would regularly forget that he was on the injured list or something. Like, oh yeah, well he could come back. And then it turned out he came back and made a big play in the Denver playoff game. But anyway, Palmer, I think those three guys, assuming, the way Joe Brady, you got to be careful this time of the year, what people say, coaches, managers, about guys who, are under team control, that they're maybe trying to just hold on to some value for if they do want to move them. But Brady really went hard at how he feels about Coleman, I thought. Like above and beyond the normal, we expect him to be here and compete for a spot, and he's still a young player, development, whatever. He went on and said, me being his coach is going to be the best thing that ever happened to him.
Does he do any of that? We don't know. Does he do any or all of that without what happened at the previous press conference? Where Pegula basically says,
good question.
We wish we didn't pick him. He might as well have said that.
Basically, right. Good question. I don't know. I think if Coleman had just had, without catching the strays that he did at the Pegula Bean news conference, you'd still be wondering about his future because of the fact that he was benched like he was, and are they just going to try to recoup a day 3 pick and move on and replace him? So I'm sure it would have come up. But, I don't know. Would he have gone as hard as he went? But the point is, he did go that hard. He went above and beyond, to my ears anyway, in my experience, what a coach normally will say about a guy that they're not sure about. Like, to me, he sounds, it would be, you can always do whatever you want and just say, like, we got an offer or whatever, right? So they're not, like, boxed in, but he was strong in advocating for Coleman being a part of it. So for now, I think I'm going to want to count him among their receiving core.
I would.
So that's only 3 guys, though, right? I don't know what they'll want to do, if anything, with Brandon Cooks. Gabe Davis and Shavers both tore ACLs in the wild card game. So there, just like there is with Mahomes only a month later, there's going to be question about, are they going to be ready by the time the season rolls around? So counting on them, 2 of them at that, seems like maybe not something you'd want to do.
And I think Shavers might be a restricted free agent. Cooks is unrestricted.
Right.
So Cooks can play the field if he wants.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how well he'll do.
I believe Davis is too.
Davis is too. He's
in green here. Shavers, I don't have a designation on the page I'm looking at here, but I'm not.
He's not a UFA.
I'm not sure. Okay. But still, to me, you've got, if you're counting Coleman, you've got 3 guys. I'm assuming Palmer, because it's an injury-riddled year, and, we are in need. So I could see them running that back and hoping they get better injury luck. But even if he is healthy, you're still going to need to get someone over top of him, I think.
Palmer, so to speak.
Yeah.
Palmer is one for me where my inclination would be more personal. Like, this was the player, I'm Brandon Beane now. This was the player I held up as, you guys can't get away with criticizing the receiver room anymore. He literally used Palmer in his interview with Tyler Dunn as that. How can you say that now? Okay, well, I think I was probably the majority who went, who is Joshua Palmer? But all right, let's see what happens. And what happened was like almost nothing, which I don't think was surprising.
Right.
So I would want to, especially if I have some sort of cap penalty for not doing this, I would want to run that back and see if I can't save face on him.
Mm-hmm.
And I have room for him.
I definitely have room for him, yes. But I don't want to rule anything out. And that means trade for a whale, right? Trade for a $30 million.
A.J. Brown.
Right. Because I think it's important. I mean, well, it's not very important. For me, a part of my thought process that matters, it's important to me, is that I think Beane is very much not entirely really because of what happened last spring about it, where he was so defiant. I think there's rabbit ears there. And I think he knows he's on the spot for doing something more substantive at receiver. The fact that he tried and failed during the season to pull in someone who would be, I mean, Jalen Waddle is not A.J. Brown, but like contractually, that's the same thing. You're talking about someone making $25 to $30 million a year under contract, young still, young enough anyway that you could, it might be like a Diggs trade. I think that should be on the table, just because I think Beane will want to look as though he's putting it to bed. Like he recognizes, look, I missed last year, and I have to make it up to you. So, not to us, but like to the team, to Josh Allen. So I think going big there could be absolutely called for, and I wouldn't rule it out. They could also just throw numbers at it, like they have in the past, like just grab a bunch of guys and hope one of them, Chase Claypool, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, that somebody is sticky. Some version, I'm not saying those guys in particular, but the 2026 version of those guys on the market. Maybe they do both of those things and draft somebody. Like if they need, I think they need 2 receivers that are ready to like displace Coleman and Palmer. I think they need 2 starting level receivers. So you got to go find that somewhere. Like, you can't, to me, off of last year because of injury and production and because of maturity and production, say, I got to overhaul my receiver room and end up counting on Palmer and Coleman.
Well, I don't think they're going to want to displace those guys necessarily. I think they're going to want to salvage them. And then what? If I'm right about that, I'm bringing in more
then it's
lesser known, and
right.
I might have that might be necessary. The trade that I would need to make, I don't really want to make. The investment in free agency, I really don't want to make that investment, even draft capital. So then I think and I have the same offensive coach. And we did really well. So I think, you wonder to what degree Bean is distracted by how he's perceived here and what he said and everything that has sort of been, water under the bridge maybe with this. It really shouldn't mean anything. He might still believe in Palmer, who had an injury or two. He might want to see what that is.
Yeah.
And he knows it, or he should know, in Brady, they should have be able to. That was one of the selling points we were told.
Yeah,
is how they communicate with each other and what is the word? Alignment.
Alignment is the word. Yes. Well, I wouldn't. I'm not going to. I'd be very surprised if they didn't displace Palmer and Coleman with guys over the top of them.
But just make them backups,
right? But it could happen, like you're saying. They maybe we'll get more. Well, I tried. I tried to trade for A.J. Brown. I tried whatever. I just think that's gotten old. I think it was misguided in the first place, and nobody's going to want to hear it. So I think he will die trying to do something substantial to displace at least one of those guys. Because if you go into a year and the top of your depth chart, whatever's behind them. But the top of your depth chart is Palmer, Coleman, and Shakir. What are you doing?
Well, okay, but then he's got a very expensive backup in Palmer. I wonder. That might be the best question of the whole thing. Not even Coleman, but Palmer.
Yeah,
is whether or not the Bills see him as unlucky last year and want to try to incorporate him more. Like when they signed him, what did I say? I mean, I know who he was, but I kind of said it happened live. We were on the air. I'm like, who? It seemed like a ton of money for a guy that had almost never produced anything, and he had one season out of necessity because the Chargers had their own injuries where he did stuff, but that was it. And last year did not change that at all.
No.
803-0550 if you want to join us. USA scored again, and it was disallowed again.
Yeah, there was a lengthy review.
Always challenge.
Yeah. That, I think, you mentioned yesterday how you looked at Greg Wyshynski had tweeted some rules that are different. And I don't know if the crease violation was on that list or not, but my understanding, and this did not happen on the play, live as it happened, but if you are in the crease at all as an attacking player, it doesn't matter if you've interfered with the goalie or not, they will blow the play dead. Like, you are not supposed to have feet in the crease, period, ever. And on this goal, to me, it looks like JT Miller is at the top of the crease and has a foot in there. I don't think he interferes with the goalie. The referee watching from the corner would have seen his foot in there and ruled it a goal, and then they looked at it and went, yeah, his foot was there. So even though I don't think he interfered with the goalie, I think they just take that down. If you as an attacking player, set a foot in the crease. So I think that's without hearing the commentary, I'm guessing that's how that goal got taken down.
Also, a subject that was broached in the Hasek movie.
Oh, sure. A foot in the crease. Yeah, that
did come up.
That came up. Yeah.
All right. Still 1-1 then officially first period. USA, Latvia. Matt Perino joins us at 4. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here, WGR. Still 1-1, USA, Latvia in the first period at the Olympics. USA will play 3:10. Isn't it 3 games in a row that start at the same time?
Yep, Saturday and Sunday are the same times. Canada plays tomorrow at 3:10. They played in the morning today, so in the morning our time anyway. So they get a game tomorrow, and the U.S. gets a day off, and then they play Saturday and Sunday at that time. Yeah,
I've got a question, and I'm asking myself whether you will know the answer. I think it's really close. I don't want to assume that you wouldn't. I do not. So here we are at the Olympics, and one thing that's different is that teams can carry 20 active players. That's the number. Or 22. 2 extra.
2 extra, right.
NHL is 20. 12-6-2. This is often 13-7-2. 22.
Mm-hmm.
Are the benches bigger?
That's a good question. I do not know if the benches are bigger.
I got 2 extra guys over here.
Right. Maybe it's just a tighter squeeze. I don't know.
It looks like a pretty tight squeeze.
Yeah.
But while Olympic ice or ice isn't always, the same, are the benches the same? Do they build these rinks for bigger benches, for more players? That's what I want to know. I couldn't wait until Paul later. I had to ask you.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, in the case of this, they did specifically construct this arena for the Olympic hockey, men's and women's. 2010, they played in Vancouver's home rink. So that would have been the bench, in an NHL arena. And I'm assuming the roster sizes were the same then. Mm-hmm. It's international play. So, I don't know. I don't know the answer. We've had a couple of more close calls here. The U.S. has hit 2 posts, I think, since we last talked. They just got to stick with it here. The period's just about over. It's going to be like the last face-off of the period in the Latvian end here. Or no, in the U.S. end, excuse me. So anyway, it's going to end 1-1 after 1. But they've been all over it. They've got the 2 disallowed goals. It turns out the second disallowed goal was ruled goalie interference. The play was not obviously stopped for a player in the crease. But I did look up the rule, and there is language that suggests the officials can blow a play dead if a player establishes position in the goal crease, which I don't think the player did on this play, and I don't think he really interfered with the goalie, but they ruled it goalie interference. So it wasn't ruled a no-goal just because the player was in the crease. They ruled that he interfered with him.
Well, super.
Right, great. I just to explain myself, I just didn't want.
It's a great product.
Yeah, it's the
made
best.
Better by this constant reviews.
Reviews, right?
Well, it's a shorter tournament. When I've hated on hockey reviews, which I've done from day one, and so have you, mostly, right?
Oh God, yes.
It's been because you have 82 games. I even get points for losing sometimes. Really don't need to shut down the entertainment product so that I can look at a iPad and maybe have a 60-40 chance of being right. To me, it's ridiculous. The Olympics is a little different. So few games, but still, this game, I don't want to. If they don't win, I don't want to hear about reviews. Just go win, figure it out.
Right.
Stop going in the crease.
Right.
Just
stay on sides.
Stay on side. I mean, right. I hate it for the sport because I just don't think the benefit is worth it versus the sort of the extra delays and the arcane nature of some of these reviews. Like, oh my God, what did that actually have to do with the goal? So I don't like it at all, but at least I can't. I'm not saying in its defense, but unlike in the regular season of the NHL, it's not 82 games here.
Yeah,
which makes it absurd that they review offsides.
I get that.
I mean, all I have to do is be in the top half of the league. You give me 6 months. I really need to stop games to see if I was an inch offside. It's ridiculous that the NHL does that, and they do it knowing that they are, I think they should know this, an entertainment product. But you've got the GMs who are like, it's not fair. And it's amazing to me that wins the day in that debate. We'll take a break and talk with Matt Perino, Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, WGR.
Frustrating first period for the United States against Latvia. 2 goals disallowed and a post sees this game tied at 1 apiece at the end of the first. Also going on right now, Germany and Denmark. That game is also in its first intermission and also tied at 1-1. Before these games, though, got underway, we did have 2 other matchups. Early this morning, Switzerland got the morning started with a 4-0 win over France, and the Canadians, they take down Czechia 5-0. Bad news, though, for Canada, as defenseman Josh Morrissey sustained an injury and did not return. Head coach John Cooper said that Morrissey tried to come back but could not, and that they hope it is not serious. Canada, though, cannot add an injury replacement due to having started their first game. And your current medal count does see Italy take the lead over Norway, as Italy sits with 16 total medals. Norway and the U.S. are tied for second with 14 each, but Norway does still lead the way with the most gold medals won with 7. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
We're up there, and here are the people on the panel, so I'm taking pot shots at Brian Brown. Because, that's what he came to Buffalo for.
It's Mike Schopp.
You literally told E.J. Manuel to his face that he sucked.
And the Bulldog.
I was proud of you, because
I feel like that's what you're there for.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
I know. I couldn't, though. I couldn't.
I'm better than you.
On WGR Sports Radio 550.
Do we have a favorite Kachuk? Are they the same? For likability or lack thereof, are they the same?
Yeah, they're very much the same, I think. They're the same style player.
So we like them this week, but no other weeks?
I kind of
Next week?
I like the way both of them play, so I guess I'm sort of a fan of their game, but, I don't really, that doesn't hold when they're playing the Buffalo Sabres.
I have a tough time with these Americans.
Yeah.
So many of them I think I dislike as players.
Yeah.
Canada is a little bit less that for me. I don't have a McKinnon problem. Maybe he's in the West, that's why.
Yeah.
I don't really
I think
have a problem with him. McDavid even.
If these guys were playing you in your way, no, the Kachucks haven't been in the Sabres' way.
Well, they have, though.
Me until now.
They have, though.
How?
Well, Darlene and they've had their
sure, but
stuff,
but they haven't kept me from.
They did one year.
Getting okay. They're good. That works. I should remember that.
I want to have this Kachuk problem, and you're trying to stop me.
No, go ahead.
You want me to fly the flag and ignore?
No, I'm
not going to root for Marchand. I'm not saying that.
That's not quite
maybe
right.
I want to root for France.
I hope the U.S. wins, but I just want the hockey to be great. That's all I really care about.
It will be.
Yeah, I think
you
it
don't
will.
have to worry.
It already has been. Yeah.
With us now on the West Shore Hotline is Matt Perino, Bills reporter for Syracuse.com. Hi, Matt. Thanks for being on.
Hey, guys. How are you?
Were you on with Sal? You're having quite a day, apparently.
Yeah, I was on with Sal. I started quite the stir, apparently, earlier this week with just a conversation starter on Dion Dawkins, and I've gotten a lot of clips sent my way, and it's been an interesting week. And I feel like it's funny because for my own perspective, Dion Dawkins getting released or traded would be terrible for my job. He's actually the best quote in the locker room. He's the most accessible. He's a guy that every reporter kind of hopes to have in a locker room. Mm-hmm. So I think that there's been a misconception that it's I'm advocating for this.
You're not eager to see this happen, right? Yeah.
No, there's
more so just are we going to start having some conversations about some guys, and when will the Bills?
I don't think you have to worry, but I'm not, in your feed here to know. I don't think anybody should be questioning that. I want to say he's this generation's Kent Hull, but maybe this generation's Kyle Williams, and then Kyle Williams was that generation's Kent Hull. Maybe Kent Hull's a long time ago, right. But that's when I was in there, right. And he was everybody's go-to guy then. So.
Yep. Well, take us through it, Matt. We know from Sal mentioned that you mentioned it on I think on your podcast, the Shout podcast with Ryan Talbot. Everyone's trying to get creative at this time of the year and pour over the cap and find money. So I imagine that's where this started. So take us through your process.
Yeah, I think coming up with ideas and everything that's happening around this organization in the last month, I think that plays into it a little bit. I mean, who would have said a month and a half ago, sitting there as the season was winding down, that there was a real chance that Sean McDermott would get fired? I think locally, nobody was saying that. I know that there were some national shows and everything like that. So you sit down and you start to think outside the box type of ideas, and you think back over the last couple of years, maybe half a decade, like what have been the big time trades at the position? You have Laramie Tunsil, who was traded at 30. You have Trent Williams, who was traded at 31. And now Deion Dawkins going into a season where he's going to be 33 years old. He's got a $24 million cap hit this upcoming season. And I think the conversation is more about where does he factor into your plans, more so just this year. Of course, there's a potential you're losing Connor McGovern and David Edwards, and you might sit there and say, hey, I'm not going to be willing to lose our 3 prongs of our 5-headed offensive line that's been one of the best in football over the last couple of years. So that's part of it. But maybe you get back one of those guys. Maybe they both take less to come back because they're Joe Brady guys or whatever the case may be. The idea is, where is Deion Dawkins' value going to be the highest? Probably right around now. If he has another season like he just had, I think that value falls a little bit off of a cliff. And if you're telling me that if he's not part of your plans for the next 3 seasons, and if you're evaluating things and you're concerned about the level of play, and by the way, the drop-off this last year, it wasn't off of a cliff. I mean, it wasn't as good, right? He gave up, for context, he gave up 6 pressures, according to Pro Football Focus, in the Denver Broncos divisional round game. Next week, the Patriots' offensive line, which I'd argue is not even nearly as good as the Bills, as a group, gave up only 8. And so I'm just thinking, if the Bills are starting to have internal conversations about the level of play and projecting this out long term, and the fact, oh, by the way, you probably got to remake your entire defense, I'm not sure there's a player that would fetch the kind of haul that a Deion Dawkins would fetch in a hypothetical, very hypothetical, everyone trade.
Not even considering what it would mean to the reporters, Matt. What would it mean to the core of the team? Like, how I feel like Dawkins is integral to, like, sort of the identity of the Bills on and off the field. I know that these things do expire. I mean, players get old and that all changes, but what level of shockwaves would it be if they did something like this?
He's definitely the old guard, and there would be great shockwaves, I think, on both sides of the ball. I mean, if you go to any of Deion's events locally, they are always heavily attended by his teammates and coaches through the years, and the way that they've talked to him. It's like he's had 3 different offensive line coaches since I've covered the Bills, and I've talked in detail with all 3 of them, and the reverence for which they talk about him, you can't really replace that. And again, if this were to ever materialize in any way, that on the other side of a conversation, it would more be about constructing the roster in a way that, resets a few of the dials in your cap constraints and everything like that. And sometimes you got to make those really hard decisions. And it's also about who else is on the roster that's going to sustain as a leader. I don't think I would have ever said 2 years ago that James Cook is irreplaceable in that locker room. I would say that today. He's grown that much as a leader. Guys lean on him. He's not as charismatic as Deion Dawkins. He's not going to win any press conferences or anything like that. But what he means in the room, I think, is a very similar piece to what Deion brings. So you're right. It would be something that they would have to gauge. Do we have enough of that to move on from him? And that's a question that they can only answer.
Right. The biggest question that I have about the entire idea, which, again, it's just an idea here. Again, Matt is not advocating that this should happen, but it's just maybe the Bills recognize that, like you laid it out perfectly, right? The value is where it is now, and getting out early is always better than getting out too late. And who knows? One more year could be too late. We don't know that. What would be, did you follow it through enough, Matt, to have an idea about replacing him? Are you just plugging Ryan Vandermark in there? Because if you're trying to save money, you're going to have to replace Deion Dawkins somehow. They're not drafting, to me, in a region where, without a trade, they could get a plug-and-play left tackle as a rookie necessarily. I mean, who knows in the draft? The Chiefs did that last year, but that guy was hurt, and his value was dinged because of it, and it turned out he recovered faster. Anyway, what is like page 2 of that story if the Bills were to find this as an idea worth exploring?
Yeah, and I think like the best mode to a trade here is a post June 1st trade. And I know like the first thing you think about is like not a lot of those happen, and how much is that helping you? Well, Jalen Ramsey, Minkah Fitzpatrick deal last year in June was very important to both of those teams. I know the Dolphins didn't win many games, but Fitzpatrick was really good back there, so much so that he was a hot name at the trade deadline, like kind of rebolstering his value quite a bit, and Jalen Ramsey meant a lot to them. The issue is going to be, all right, do you draft a tackle now? Where do you draft a tackle? I mean, there's been cases where, you get a guy in the second and the third round, and even if you're not trading Deion Dawkins, you might want to start thinking about if Tylen Grable's not the tackle of the future, or Ryan Vandermark, you might want to start stocking the cupboards already. The Bills have been super lucky in not having any of their big-time playmakers on their offensive line miss a extended period of time. Spencer Brown this last season was probably the best example of the last 3 seasons. We've seen that happen. That luck runs out. Stephon Diggs gets traded from the Bills after being this just embodiment of availability, and he goes and suffers a season-ending injury, halfway through the year. And so I think that's part of it. It's about starting to really replenish at that position in looking towards the future anyway. I know they're high on Tylen Grable, so much so that they, I know Aaron Cromer at times was thinking about conversations inside the building. Could he be a guard replacement to David Edwards? Could he be somebody that we plug in to tackle? I think it opened up a lot of eyes when he beat out Vandermark as a swing tackle as a rookie. So I think there's a lot of hope. Are you replacing Deion Dawkins with him? That's not necessarily the plan that I think I'd even be comfortable with as someone who covers the team as the plan beyond Dawkins. So you might need to acquire somebody in terms of the capital, or have somebody that you believe in, and maybe you use one of those draft picks this year to take a tackle. It's not a clean idea by any stretch of the imagination. And you're right.
Gotcha.
And hearing a lot of the feedback on it on the radio and some of the podcasts and stuff, it's really unnerving to make this deal without having a replacement. So that's the area where it really becomes very hard to imagine, considering what they'd have to do over the next 3 months to prepare for a move like that.
I shouldn't be in such a hurry to say the Bills would be unlikely to be able to find a plug-and-play replacement in the draft. Dawkins started 11 games as a rookie, and he was the 63rd overall pick.
It sounds like when we talk about coaches and somebody makes the point, well, how do you know the next guy is going to be better? You don't. But it happens all the time, and if he's aging out, then it's something they should do or try to do. This is cognitive dissonance for me, because this is the kind of logic and thinking that I'm all about. Just it's out of the box a little bit, but it makes sense. You're laying out the argument. It's perfectly reasonable, but it's also like, oh my God, no.
Right.
And I'm in Camp A when it comes to these things usually, but I guess I'm feeling some attachment to him, and maybe not as aware of whatever drop-off there might have been this year to sign up. So I don't know. I'm curious though. I'm interested in this conversation, but I don't know where I want to be yet. Because this is the kind of move you always want to be early, not late, right? Mm-hmm. This is the kind of move that if you don't have to be right, but smart teams do things like that before you get to a point where like it's too late to get value. So
I think where I started on all of this really was thinking about, okay, Josh Allen gets sacked the most times in his career, and you're spending almost if you go by position, you can make an argument that they've put just as many resources financially into their offensive line as any position. And so when that is the outcome, and listen, they were an elite running team this year, and that maybe that had something more to do with Josh, and I think he put a lot of that on himself. But I think where the idea was really born is, all right, is there real concern about being able to protect him with the current group? And oh, by the way, that's a huge cap number the next couple of years. But on the other side, as complicated as this is, it's not really a huge cap number, because if you look at the position, AAV-wise, he's not even in the top 10. And I think that there's a lot of things that you can do, as I've talked to Mike Giannetti from Spot Track about on my podcast. Like, you can move the money around quite a bit. You can even, if he's part of the future, the 3 or 4 year future, you can extend him and get a ton of savings this year too.
Yeah.
The point being on Deion Dawkins is there is a number of options financially to help you. It just comes down to how the Bills view them and their situation on their line.
Matt Perino, Syracuse.com on the Bills beat, also co-host of the Shout podcast on the Western Hotline with us. So, Matt, we did spend some time already today talking about the receiver room. It's WGR. We got to fly the flag here and ask the requisite questions about the receiver room. How hard do you think Brandon Beane will go at the room? Because it underperformed. Obviously, they've got the Keon Coleman situation, which I think it's pretty interesting that Joe Brady went beyond, at least to my ears, what a normal coach or GM would say about trying to protect a guy's value. I mean, saying it's going to be the best thing that ever happened to the kid that I'm his head coach sounds to me like he expects him to be in the room with them. Shakir and Palmer, I might guess, are for sure Shakir, probably Palmer. After that, I think I'm empty set. So how big do you think they may go at receiver?
I think everything's on the table to start with. And I think there's definitely awareness inside the building, just with, like you mentioned, flying the flag, just like what I think that whole off-season dialogue did for, whether it's Brandon Beane's own personal brand or just to think about the way things have devolved for him in terms of approval rating. I mean, we're 3 or 4 years removed from the meme that would flash around social media of him in the sunglasses with the fire emojis coming out of his eyes, and he was big baller Beane. And now people are in an uproar that Sean McDermott's fired and he is hanging around and promoted. And so I think that definitely will play into things. The way the wide receiver room gets played out is interesting, because I thought going into the offseason, there was a real world where maybe Josh Palmer's not back, even though you have to take a huge dead cap hit to move on from him. Maybe you add him in a trade for a day 3 pick to give you some mobility, something like that. After talking to Brandon Beane, I fully think that they're going to bring him back, and I think that they think that his whole season was derailed by injuries. He had a heel injury in the offseason program, was never able to work with Josh Allen. Then he got banged up groin and knee in training camp throughout preseason. Then, of course, the ankle, hip, and knee that pretty much threw his entire season off. And they're taking that quarter and a half in Atlanta as kind of the data that shows them he can be a bigger part of this offense. And I agree with you. I think Keon Coleman, you don't say all of that if you're Joe Brady, if the plan isn't to go along with him. And plus, he's got 2 more years left on his rookie deal. There's real value in that, and he can do multiple things. And here's the other thing, guys. They haven't even tapped into what I think a lot of people thought was his best role in the NFL, and that is putting him in the slot. I think Khalil Shakir is an elite slot receiver. But I also think if you remember back to when they drafted him, Brandon Beane went on and on about how you could line him up everywhere,
right?
And it'll work. I'm just more in the camp now of, you see a wide receiver room like Seattle with Shaheed and JSN, and they're positionless. And they move them around and they do different things. You're not going to ask Khalil Shakir to run post routes all afternoon, but he can line up on the outside if you need Keon inside for 40 or 50% of his snaps. And so I think, listen, go be aggressive in the draft. You're going to have to make a swing at a trade or a free agent, and it's going to look a lot different. And if you get to August and you got to cut one of these guys or trade one of these guys, so be it, because it's got to look a little bit different than it did this last year.
I don't want to gloss over the point about Palmer's injuries. It does sound very ominous to me. I think it was a strained idea of a signing in the first place. And every year that goes by, this is Curtis Samuel, if that's not unfair. Like, years go by and you accumulate these injuries, and then your odds of being able to hold up during an NFL season go down and down. Now Palmer's, mid-20s or 27 even this year. The thing I would say, Matt, and if this question is wrong to ask because of what Palmer had to deal with physically, so be it. You'll say that. Why didn't they do any of this before? You had Shakir, you had Palmer. If you wanted to play Shakir outside, why didn't you?
Yeah,
this coach
Coleman
is that
inside.
coach.
Right.
So should I really expect them to move Shakir around? Is it something they might have just remembered that they said or could do?
The only thing that I could really surmise on all of that is that Sean had a lot more say on what they did scheme-wise than we're led to believe. And because for Brandon to come out after the fact and talk about, even in his, we did a 40-minute season-ending press conference with him the night of his press conference with Joe Brady, and he talked about, like, Keon in the slot is a real thing they can do. Now, he said that before, but what leads me to believe that might now be on the table is, doesn't it feel like through all of this with Sean and Brandon and the dissension down the stretch, there was not an aligned vision for how this thing should happen? And so I guess what I would say it's possible now because Joe Brady feels like, in a way, he's falling in line with how Brandon wants to run it. And I think that's actually sneaky important, because if you go and spend a draft pick on a guy, you get him into camp, Kyer Elam, for example, and then all of a sudden you get halfway through the season and he's barely playing, that is not a good marriage between coaching staff and front office. And that's something that's definitely got to change. And, last thing real quick, you mentioned the thing on Josh Palmer. Something I got to tell on myself about, and I've been really guilty of it over the years, is when a guy gets signed to the Bills and all the content starts coming out around the player, right? And it's all of the really good stuff about the player. Anything that you can kind of gobble up that they've done at any point that was good, that almost becomes the entirety of the story. And I was really excited about that signing, and you go back and look at it, and it's like, well, why were you so excited about this? The writing was on the wall. I mean, a lot of Chargers fans were like, good, take him. Like, they didn't want him anymore. And there's got to be a little bit to that, too. So I think as we go through this offseason process, I think it's going to be really interesting evaluating some of these moves now through the lens of, okay, he's no longer big baller Bean. Now it's, hey, man, you better do something really impressive to get the majority of this fan base back on track.
Good stuff, Matt. Thanks for your time.
Oh, thanks for having me. Take care, guys.
You're welcome. Matt Perino, Syracuse.com. Yeah, well, he makes, I think, a great point about how this team gets covered, and I'm not speaking of Matt, but, there are media who can't wait to tell you what you want to hear about players. I don't know. It's much more interesting to me to find guys who are not affiliated with the Bills at all talk about their signings. For Stephon Diggs, it was Matt Harmon. Matt had no affiliation with the Bills. And again, if I hadn't been clear, you could cover the team objectively and not, be any form of a slave to, like, the fan reaction. Fans are generally going to love whatever they do. And if you don't, they're going to tell you why they think you hate them or why you're missing the better points. Anyway, just a point that's interesting to me that's, very relatable. 803-0550, the number. 1-1, halfway through, USA and Latvia. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here. This is WGR.
We are into the second period, and after a frustrating first, which saw 2 goals disallowed and a post get hit, the United States finally leads Latvia 2-1. Brock Nelson with the goal for that second one. Also going on, Germany currently leads Denmark 3-1. Before these games, though, did get underway, we had 2 other matchups. Switzerland got the morning started with a 4-0 win over France, while the Canadians, they take down Czechia 5-0. But bad news for Canada. Defenseman Josh Morrissey sustained an injury. He did not return, and head coach John Cooper said that Morrissey did try to come back, couldn't, and they're hoping it is not serious. Canada, though, cannot add any injury replacement due to having started their first game. And your medal count currently sees Italy having taken the lead from Norway. Italy has 16 total medals. Norway and the United States are tied for second with 14 each. Norway, though, still has the most golds with 7. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Headlines. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
I've had GMs, front office executives, scouts who have been looking at this free agent class and saying, not a great class. These teams have done a great job at tying up their own players long-term and making sure that they don't get to free agency. When we talk about the draft, and we'll see how it shakes out over time, people aren't all that excited about the draft either. So we got a free agent class that's not real deep. We've got a draft that is not considered real deep. And you know what that tells me, Dan?
More trades?
That's what it tells me.
Adam Schefter, I'll believe it when I see it. When is there ever more trades in sports anymore? What I see is it's going to be stagnant. Maybe there'll be trades. Trades are hard. Look at quarterback. Maybe that's the wrong example. I'm using that to make the point. But the big quarterbacks who have the huge contracts, are they tradable? Is that not who we're talking about? Who are we talking about? Offensive line?
Deion Dawkins.
Like more trades. How many more trades? We'll see.
And I get why you say that. It feels like, and I don't have the data at hand here. Maybe Adam Schefter does. How many trades there have been the last few draft cycles? But we had that 1 year, right, when Devontae Adams got traded and Stephon Diggs got traded. Like there was all that.
Tyreek Hill. There was all that action. And was Diggs that same year? I don't think so.
I don't think so. It was a different year. But anyway, there was that 1 year. There was a few of them. A.J. Brown from Tennessee to Philadelphia was a part of that too, I think. So, yeah, I'm going back a little too far for that, I think. But anyway, every year since then, it's like, oh, Brandon Ayuk. Like, who's out there? Who's got a big contract that somebody might want to move on from? And I think what happens is like the football media just sort of gets that ball rolling. And we play some small part in that here locally. And we're talking about this is an idea, maybe not that small a part at all. I'm maybe trying to underestimating how much of a big. Anyways, it gets talked about. But has anything happened like since that year where there were all those trades? I don't know that we've had those big deals.
Well, I blame Von Miller. No one did more to stir up
right.
hopes and dreams for the Bills and making big moves than Von Miller, right? Wasn't he the guy that was Beckham?
Beckham and even maybe a little bit of Hopkins too.
Hopkins.
I don't know. But yeah, it feels like we've had those conversations because of the 1 year there were moves, and maybe there haven't been commensurate moves like that really since.
Well, yes. Wide receiver is the position of weakness, at least on offense, at least of the skill positions this year. And of course, that's where almost everybody would tell you of those positions is where the Bills need the most attention. But if you look at, this is from Mike Clay, unrestricted free agent tight ends, Kyle Pitts, Dallas Goedert, Travis Kelce. Interesting to me that he hasn't retired yet. Maybe he's still thinking about it or might play. David Njoku. Njoku said he wasn't going back to Cleveland. Then you have some lesser names that are kind of interesting here and there. That would be Chigakonkwo, Cade Otton. Maybe it's a little bit more top-heavy. Not the best comparison. Running back, Breece Hall. Kenneth Walker is a free agent. ETN, Javonte Williams, Rico Dowdle flash for Carolina. and a few other names. Wide receiver, what order is Mike putting these names in? I don't think it's likely to be all subjective, like how good he thinks they are, but maybe it goes George Pickens, who, sure, if he
incredible player, but is somewhat, I don't know, terrifying is maybe too strong, but there's some safety orange tape around George Pickens to me.
I just don't think he makes it out. Like, he did so well for Dallas, I would think that they would try to do that, but maybe not a given. They could tag him, Pickens.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Evans, who's almost at the end, I think. Deebo Samuel, who is at the end, I think. Wan'Dale Robinson is fourth. Possession receiver, not the type the Bills need. Jawan Jennings, Alec Pierce, Shaheed, Dobbs, Christian Kirk, Josh Allen, Christian Kirk. That could happen.
Yeah.
Big body, speed, Allen. That could happen.
See that big Kirk? I don't feel like he's that big. He's more.
I want to guess 6'1".
Okay, that
190.
Yeah,
something like
that.
that.
To me, that's like you got to be 6'3" to qualify as big.
Really?
I think to me
that's probably right.
Yeah.
Let me look. 5'11".
Yeah. Okay. Get out of here with big.
You're right. Not a big body.
Yeah.
Not small.
When you get to. I've looked at that list too. It's one of those things that every year when he puts that out, I screen grab it and save it, so I don't have to go searching through my Twitter feed to find it. I have it saved in my pictures if I ever want the list for easy access. How soon you get to, again, I'm not sure how they're rated either. It might be estimating, maybe it's what they've been making or what he thinks they might get on the market. I don't know. But Shaheed being Shaheed was an idea at the trade deadline and could still be an idea that you might like to fill a role for the Bills. But, that was never, there's my number one boundary X receiver guy. That's not who he is. I think he has value. And I'm not even saying I wouldn't be interested in bringing him in, but it's not a top-of-the-market idea at all.
This is Kirk?
No, Shaheed, I'm saying.
Sorry. No, it's not.
Right, and so that tells you what kind of impact you might expect to find from a free agent.
I think the only wide receiver ones on this list are Pickens and Evans. Just, generically. Not by the Bills roster, but by sort of where I think they rate. I mean, Pickens probably is that, although maybe ironically he wouldn't be wide receiver one in Dallas. He's not wide receiver one in Dallas. But he's maybe the best wide receiver two in the league. One of them, one of the top couple. Evans, what's he got left? Does he ever play for anyone else? I don't know where that stands. And then I think it's mostly over for Deebo. There's not a good chance that you can go into free agency and look like you have a better group.
Right, and because of the scarcity of what you might consider to be really good ideas, then I think you get into a situation where you might expect to overpay for the best guys that are out there, and that's nowhere you want to live either. No. Alec Pierce, I think, could be a nice player. He'd be a great player if I could get him on Josh Palmer's contract, but he's probably going to get paid twice that. And do I want to do that?
And if I want to, I still have Josh Palmer on Josh Palmer's contract.
Right.
Yeah.
So free agency might be pretty dicey. Yeah, that's where you're going to end up in. Well, how unhappy is A.J. Brown in Philadelphia? How motivated are they to move on from him? And how ready to do that am I? Do I want to do the contract and all of it? There might be that's a huge commitment.
I think we have a Tage Thompson goal.
I think you're right. Yeah,
power play goal.
So
late second for 3-1.
I don't know, but that's why you end up talking about trades is because the free agent market doesn't look that realistic, and you're going to get stuck overpaying. At least Brown, he has the contract. I don't know if he would require a new one, but maybe. And that's where you get lost in the weeds thinking about whether that's a great idea or not. Pretty nifty move by Thompson for the goal.
So it's a power play. He gets a pass from Eichel down low and sort of fans on it, but he still has time to roof a backhand from just above the crease on the goalie's
Right, he backs out looking like he wants to take a forehand shot and then ends up roofing a backhander over Merzlikins' shoulder into the top of the net. So nice little play.
Has Eichel ever scored a goal in one of these that mattered at all? Like I looked at his history internationally and assists, but the first time I think I ever sat with Jack Eichel as an idea would have been the World Juniors.
Mm-hmm.
And that went badly, right? Like they finished way low in the tournament.
He didn't do much of anything in the tournament that I remember. I remember watching those games and just being like, this is okay. Kind of that was like, okay.
It bothered me that he wasn't more special in that tournament. Is that 15?
Yeah, I think
the
so.
year he was drafted.
Yeah.
If you go to usahockey.com and look up each player, like for Eichel, they have his highlights through his career in the different international events. And for that tournament, there's nothing listed. Like maybe he didn't have a point. In the 14 Worlds, he had a team high 5 goals and 5 assists.
The World Juniors?
The World Juniors in 14. In 15, there's nothing listed. 15 Worlds, this is after what? He would have played for the Sabres? Or that's before that? 7 points in 10 games?
The thing about I don't know how they designate those tournaments because they cross from the years. It's 14 and then 15. Like it starts in 14 and the tournament ends in, you know what I mean? Like it's around the holidays and the championships of it are after. So
no, but 15 World Juniors, he couldn't have played in the World. Well, he didn't play in the World Juniors after he had played for the Sabres.
That's right.
So this is going to be 14-15.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Montreal and Toronto. That tournament was in North America.
That's what I'm assuming it is.
Me too. The year before, he had 5 goals.
Okay.
And then 15 Worlds, which is probably
World Championships.
World Championships.
Okay.
7 points in 10 games. He's either a Sabre by then or he's going to be. Because that's right after the season. That's like May, right?
Yep.
17 Worlds, 5 assists in 8 games. 19 Worlds, 8 points, 7th place. He's got 1 medal since all of this, and that's in the 15 Worlds where USA won bronze.
4th USA goal, it looks like another one for Brock Nelson. Did he have their second goal?
He did.
Yeah, well, he's got a second goal for himself, and they're up 4-1 now late. Very late, right? 11 seconds, I think it looks like. I think it's Nelson. I want to see the replay right as I'm talking here, but I'm pretty sure it's him who puts it in ultimately.
He might have had the second disallowed goal, too.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
He was in on it. He shot it.
It is him on this 4th goal.
All right, so breathe easy.
Yeah, they're
4-1.
Cruising now.
End of 2. 32-11 are the shots. Very Sweden, Italy. I mean, they have a pretty winnable group here.
Oh, yeah.
Denmark and Germany.
Yeah.
Germany is going to be Draisaitl.
Draisaitl and Stützle from Ottawa. Like, those are high-end, world-class players.
There's a good goalie, too. Grubauer.
Right. That's right. Yes, good grab. Yep.
We'll take a break and then talk some more. What do you want from the Bills in free agency? That's one question. 803-0550. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here, WGR. Interested in, since we have this rare opportunity with the Olympics happening and NHL players back in it, we don't have American football in the Olympics where we would have this opportunity, so that's out, is sort of the balance where you're rooting for your country and your Sabres. So if the most popular, this has got to be hypothetical, unless we can go back some number of years, the most popular Sabres player, or the best, this is maybe Hasek. I guess this is Hasek. Would you root for the Americans against, like, did you root for the Americans against the Hasek-led Czechs? Is that the year, too, where the Americans got all stupid at the hotel and everything?
Yeah. 98.
I hated that team.
Yeah, Keith Kachuk.
I'm not even sure I like this one.
Yeah.
I just...
I don't think I would root for a Sabre player from another country over Team USA, but it was easy to root for Hasek and Schmelik against Canada. I know that.
Semis.
Yeah.
U.S. was quarters, Canada was semis, Russia was the gold medal game.
Oh, that's right. So that
He beat them all.
Okay. The save on Shanahan wasn't to win the gold medal.
No,
that
it was to advance to the gold medal game.
Right, okay.
Semifinal game.
All right. So that was easy. I think USA presents, play if the Americans had made it that far, that would have been more challenging, I think, for me as a fan. Dahlin or Thompson, like that's in the window. Like that could end up, mattering. I don't know. Like I'm not so like, I need the USA. I recognize they haven't won since 1980, and it would be great to see them win. Like, I'm not against it, but I don't need it. If Dahlin had a great tournament and Sweden wins the gold medal, that would work just fine for me. I think is how I would put it. But I'd like to see the U.S. bring it home. The team will grow on me. Hating the Kachuk brothers is, to me, a sign that I like how they play.
Yeah, there is that with the sport.
For me, with them. So I recognize that we're getting, hopefully, the Sabres pick up somehow where they left off. I guess not right at the end because they lost 3 or 4 going into this break. But that they're, in a playoff spot and competing for seeding, if not a spot overall, and like Florida or Ottawa become a problem, then that's different, of course. But I like their games a lot, those guys. I like how they play. They're jerks. They're dirty. They're
Do the
mean.
Sabres have enough jerks? Isn't that generally a shortcoming of theirs?
Yeah, usually it is. Yeah. No, I don't think they do have enough jerks.
Just the late 90s they had jerks.
Yeah, right.
But that's it.
Yep.
They got out of the jerk business.
They did.
And then they went into bankruptcy, not coincidentally. Then the league canceled because there were too many jerks. The league just stopped.
And then it changed.
They brought it back with fewer jerks. Jerks didn't get you that far post-lockout.
Right.
Then we won. And then maybe did it revert to jerkdom? The Sabres just never brought themselves to have that many jerks. Is that a goal at the deadline? Is there a jerk out there we should want? There might be. This is not entirely frivolous.
No, it's not. It really isn't. I mean, the way we're having the conversation might seem like it is, but you could be looking for absolutely a jerk.
No one thought Dinas Zubris was a jerk. They just thought, all right, well, he's kind of big and maybe he'll score.
Yeah.
But he never was a problem for anybody.
No,
everybody didn't mind Dinas Zubris.
Although, I don't know, maybe
too nice.
He might have made Jágr kind of give up on that series. Like, I remember him frustrating Jágr in 2007 in that second round series.
Fair. That's fair. He's an easy target.
Yeah. He's not the, in your face, but he might have just defended really well, and that can be just as frustrating.
You got these guys, though, like even some of them are in the Olympics. Tom Wilson was in the Olympics.
Quintessential. Yeah. Big time jerk.
98, U.S. loses to Hasek and the Czechs in the quarters 4-1. The famous game, Czechs over the Canadians in the semis 2-1 in a shootout. Hasek 5 saves out of 5 in the shootout. And then for the gold, Czech beat Russia 1-0. And Canada lost the bronze medal game to Finland. So Canada with all that superstardom did not medal in 98. Leading scorer in the tournament, Teemu Selanne. Tied with Saku Koivu, 10 points.
All right.
Man, that Hasek movie has me going. I just got right back into the 90s, and a lot of the movie, almost the first half of the movie, is his talking about his life before he came to the NHL, how he didn't know what it meant to be drafted or that he had been drafted by the NHL. And I loved Jerry Meehan in it and Jim Lorentz in it, Marty. It's really good. High recommend. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here, 803-0550. This is WGR.
The floodgates have opened. The United States leads Latvia now 4-1 as we are in the second intermission heading into the third period. Tage Thompson on the score sheet. He scores on the power play to give the United States their third goal. Brock Nelson scores the second and fourth goal for the United States. Also going on right now, Germany leads Denmark 3-1. That game is also in the second intermission heading into the third period. Before these games did get underway, though, we had two other matchups today. Switzerland got the morning started with a 4-0 win over France, and the Canadians, they take down Czechia 5-0. But some injury news for Canada. Defenseman Josh Morrissey sustained an injury. He did not return. Head coach John Cooper said that Morrissey did try but was unable to, and now they're hoping it is not serious. Canada, though, cannot add an injury replacement due to having started their first game. Your medal count sits with Italy in front as they have 17 medals. Norway and the United States are tied for second with 14. Norway, though, has the most gold medals with 7. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
So I hung out with some second graders, and I played Connect 4 with a second grader who beat me. I feel like a second grader and an adult is a good matchup in Connect 4. I'm just saying that now, maybe because I lost to a kid who's 7.
It's Mike Schopp.
This kid, and I beat him one time, and then we played, and it wasn't like I was just sitting there all day staring at the board, right? I mean, there's no excuse, though. There is no excuse for losing to a 7-year-old at Connect 4.
And the Bulldog.
He had me 3 different ways at the end, and twice he missed the winning play.
Yeah.
And then a third time, he had another, 3 turns in a row, he had a winning play. And how bad a job is that for me? How bad a job is it in Connect 4?
You had 3 match points in Connect 4?
He had 3 match points.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
The second time, I'm like, I'm surprised you didn't see that. And I'm sort of giving it to him. And then I make my play, and they're like, oh, he's got another one. I didn't see that at all.
On WGR Sports Radio 550.
I always know how to date that because I know who the kid is, and that would be 9 years ago.
Right.
And if I couldn't beat him then. You ever see somewhere...
Is this one of the kids you took $20 off at your Super Bowl party?
No, but if I had the chance, I'd try. This guy.
Payback. Payback, kid.
Oh, baby. Took $20 off of. I don't know. I told you the story about my wife needing $5 and how I told her I wouldn't give it to her unless I had 5 more than the money I won from the kids.
She was down on you having won these.
Yeah, let me see if I have that money to give you. I know I shouldn't have this other money,
right?
So I'm not going to give you that. I mean,
it's
obviously
dirty.
You think I shouldn't
want the
it.
dirty. She doesn't want to launder the money for you that you took off these kids.
Right. Let's give her a baseball card next time.
Acting as Walter White's car wash for you for the money you won gambling with 16-year-olds.
Go sell this PSA 6 1979 Walter Payton card, and you can keep the change. Have you ever seen a big arcade Connect 4?
Yes.
I think I'd love one of those. Would I play it?
Yeah.
You don't actually put the discs. They don't have the giant-sized discs. You just push red or blue.
It's a touch screen, I think, right? Kind of thing. Yeah,
probably.
Yeah.
Would I get bored? How fast would I get bored with that? If I had that just miraculously, magically arrive in my house.
Where in your house is it?
You tell me. Wherever it should be.
That basement area.
Fine. If I had the giant Connect 4, would I? I'd have to. You can't just play by yourself.
No.
Connect 4. You need a buddy on that one.
Yeah.
That would be the tough part. Come on, let's go play Connect 4. All right, again? Really? We did this morning.
Yeah.
And this afternoon.
It would be you have the Super Bowl party, for example. I mean, assuming you're hanging out for a little while before the game. After, it's pretty late, so you're not probably doing that at our age. I'm lumping us both together for this. But it's a novelty, so I think house guests that haven't experienced it before would want, I've been to your house, but I've never played the Connect. If you suddenly had Connect 4 the next time I came over, I would want to play. But I don't know that I'd want to play more than once or twice.
No, right.
It'd be like just like okay, we're really doing this. All right.
It wouldn't be money well spent. It wouldn't be a good investment.
No.
I mean, I have Golden Tee.
See, now that's a whole other thing.
It's Golden Tee 2K. That's how old it is.
Yeah.
It's nothing like Golden Tee now. Like, it's just nothing.
Right.
Like, it really looks like it's closer to Atari than it is to like, what you would see in an arcade for Golden Tee.
Right.
Like a Great Wolf Lodge or something.
Oh, my
They
gosh.
have the Connect 4.
Yeah.
I believe.
So it's got what was it? The ball you got to spin?
Trackball.
Okay. Yeah.
Unlike where you go to play the fake golf or whatever we need to call that last night, it has like 3 courses, if that.
Okay, right. Yeah.
We had one here. Those were the days. 5-1, Matthews.
Another U.S. goal.
We had one here.
Yeah.
That sort of the halcyon days.
Right.
Where we had Studio Niagara, and we had the Golden Tee, and who knows what, the Koi wire vending machine.
Right.
Oh, baby. How did any of that happen? How did we have games here?
Didn't we have in the room, there was like some ESPN thing that had like a basketball hoop on it or something?
Yes.
That we could play, and then there was a goalie net. I remember playing like mini sticks with you in here.
Yes. Oh.
There was like a foam puck that would not move on carpet very well, but we were not going to be deterred.
Now
we just played anyway.
We have this guy. Right. There's only so much you can do with a tiny Patrick Lalime Penguins figurine.
Without a stick. Poor guy.
He doesn't even have a stick.
Lost his stick.
There's only so much you can do.
His teammates should get it back for him. He has no teammates.
Nice tweet here from my friend Zach from Trainwreck. He says, this is the term I want to use. The Sabres actually right now have a great jerk density duo with Benson and Krebs. Not big enough.
Yeah,
not big enough.
Yeah, they're not intimidating, but they are annoying for sure. Yeah, Benson, man.
Jerk density.
They get to the playoffs, the other team is going to want to murder, the other team's fans, and maybe the players are going to want to murder Benson. He is so perfectly annoying because he is so small that it doesn't seem like he should really even be able to compete. But yet he does, and he competes like someone who's 6'2". And that's perfect. That's a very good catch by Zach.
Jerk density.
He's but it's not. He's going to annoy you. He's not going to intimidate you.
Krebs makes everyone crazy, including his own team's fans, I think.
I think so, yeah. The Tkachuk brothers can actually intimidate.
Yeah, definitely.
Right.
And score like hell.
Right. Which makes them sort of almost
elite,
perfect hockey players.
Yep.
Right.
All-time Sabres jerk with respect to the word, the player has to be pretty good, but also other teams hate him. Not every NHL team in any given moment has somebody that the other teams hate or that the fans hate.
Right.
Like the Sabres will play New Jersey next. Do they have somebody like this? I mean, I guess I shouldn't just go naming teams because you'll tell me they probably do.
I'm not up to date. One of the things, I do watch games all the time, but one thing that sort of falls by the wayside when your team isn't good for a long time is keeping track of the jerk quotient of your opponents.
Jerk density?
Jerk density, fine. I don't know. I'm not sure. All time, it's tough. The Sabres have often been, you said it already when we first brought this up, they've not always had a guy. They've never been long in the tooth or long
in the jerk tooth.
In the jerk God almighty.
Long in the jerk.
I'm just having so much trouble spitting it out here. I'm sorry.
Such a great word.
I think, who comes to mind?
I got a name. You're going to name it. You're going to say it?
The guy had a hat trick in a playoff game against Montreal. Barnaby.
That's the name.
Is, it unraveled here production-wise for him. But when he first hit, he was someone who could score and was also super annoying and would fight. I don't know how intimidating he was because he was not like he was not a big guy.
He has a big mouth.
But he was annoying and had the tooth and all the stuff. I mean,
jerk tooth.
He really was. He scored big.
He's my score to beat.
Yeah. Yeah, there's not like I'm thinking like the 05-06 teams that were 06-07. You already mentioned like their trade deadline. I wanted them to trade for Gary Roberts.
Yeah.
Who would have filled that role? I mean, he's a Hall of Fame jerk, Gary Roberts.
Very naive.
And instead, they traded for Dina Zubris, who, again, maybe he frustrated Yager, but no jerk, nothing.
No jerk element.
No. And I think, you'd like to have that. It's one of the reasons why. Look, this might be at some point, this player is going to fall off a cliff. And if you are the team that has him on your team when it happens, you're going to be maybe really sorry. But Corey Perry was in here with the LA Kings a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, my God.
And
great name.
I know how I reacted to him last year when I saw him playing on the power play with Edmonton in the playoffs. I was like, you're Edmonton. What are you doing? He scored like 10 goals for them in the playoffs last year. Like, he had an incredible playoff for them. That's a guy that I don't know, like there's all kinds of, can he skate well enough to keep up or whatever you want to say. But that's a guy that is going to get to the front of the net and cross-check everyone in sight, and goals are going to go in off his ass. And I could use that, I think.
I don't know how to do this anymore, but I tweeted about how to find it. But I tweeted about him during that game.
Oh, okay.
Because there was some goalie. There was a goal called back. On LA, and he was the reason why.
And he was in the crease barking at whoever it was, Lyon or Ellis.
There were two plays in that game. One was that, so the goal didn't count. And then there was another one. Yeah, I think maybe those were different plays, or maybe not. When he was like screaming at the goalie.
Yeah. Okay.
And I'm like, why is it always Corey Perry?
Right.
And then I said, trade for him.
Right. Okay, there
Which
it
you
is.
can't do because they're trading for Panarin. Like, you're not going to get...
They're probably not getting Corey Perry off of them. Unless
off a team that does that.
Right, unless they fall out of it or something. But, yeah, I doubt that'll happen.
He would go right to the top by far all time in Sabres history.
Oh, yeah.
In the jerk density.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they never have that guy who's like famous for being annoying, but also is probably going to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah. I remember having it told to me, I don't want to put a name on this, but that this really does pick at a scab for me. The Gary Roberts, Dina Zubris year. Because I remember being told that they were worried he couldn't skate with them. Where we're going to put him on a line because we're all about speed and attacking, and he's gonna be lagging. He just can't keep up. And like, it's the playoffs. You just get it in the zone and on the walls, and you'll see the value of Gary Roberts. And I don't know how I remember it this way. They played instead. He was on Ottawa. No. I got that wrong. He went to Pittsburgh, I think, and played Ottawa.
Yeah.
Okay, and game one,
yeah,
he absolutely trucks like Wade Redden or Chris Phillips or somebody behind the net early in the game. Just message sending all day long. And then as that game is winding down, they're up maybe by 2. Pittsburgh. 4-2 is the score. It's late third. And he just blasts some senator from behind into the boards and then turns around like, what you going to do? And I'm like, that's Gary Roberts. That's what my team, I need that on my team. Now, they didn't win that series. I mean, of course, the Sabres ended up playing Ottawa later that playoff. But
this is 07.
Yeah. I remember him. That I hope that all is, I'm not just, remembering some idealized version of the events, but that's how I remember Gary Roberts in the playoffs when the Sabres thought he couldn't skate with them.
He scored in games 2 and 3 in that series, and they lost in 5.
Yeah.
So I don't know how well he did, but
Right.
it would have felt amazing.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so he didn't get them over the hump. So, I mean, that sort of diffuses the point a bit, right? You still lost to Ottawa, the team I'm bragging about how mean Gary Roberts was to them in game 1 of the series. But still, I just love
Would have been really cool.
Yeah. They won game 1 and then got swept?
They won game 2.
Okay, it's game 2 then. Okay, so I already said I might have some of this a little messed up, and clearly I do.
It's okay.
Anyway. But yeah.
And he would have gone to Ottawa as a Penguin after having spent years with the Leafs, who would always beat Ottawa.
Mm-hmm.
And he was on those teams, early 2000s,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
would beat Ottawa. So you kind of also got somebody there who...
There was history there.
There was history, even though they did lose.
Yeah.
That needs to be pointed out repeatedly.
Yes.
They did lose.
They did lose.
Well,
yeah.
so did we.
Right.
When you win, every move you made, as terrible as it might have seemed, was
Right.
good. And I don't know if the opposite has to be true. Only one team wins, but yeah, that would have felt great. Here's Larry with us. Hi, Larry.
What about Michael Pekka?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Larry. Pekka.
As a jerk?
I mean, he's not a zero on
No,
meter.
he was a big open ice hitter. I mean, he had that reputation.
Not so much an agitator.
No, and I feel like as his career went on, he became such a valuable player that you didn't really want him screwing around with jerkdom that much, I think.
Can you name all his teams?
Pekka's teams? Well, he's Vancouver, because that's where I remember him laying out Timo Solani. He's
Ooh, I
maybe
don't
his
remember
rookie year with Vancouver before the Mogilny trade. And then it's here, and it's from here to the Islanders. And
Connolly.
Right. After that, yeah, I lose the plot on him.
He goes to the finals.
Edmonton. Yeah. Oh, wow.
And then Toronto. And that was feisty.
Yeah.
With the Leafs. Or was it with the Islanders against the Leafs? I think I'm thinking of
He
that.
got hurt with the Islanders against the Leafs.
In the playoffs.
He got knee to knee.
Tucker?
I think so. I think that's right.
And then after Toronto, 2 years with Columbus. That I would not have anything to say about that. Not a single thing. All right. 5-1 U.S. cruising against Latvia. Here's George next. Hello, George.
Hi, thanks for taking my call. I was listening earlier when you were talking about the Dominic Hasek movie, and so I actually have two questions, one related to that and then one about the current Sabres. So Dominic's style, obviously, he's one of one. But my question is, how come you don't see that even remnants of that style anymore? I feel like growing up watching him, there were a few other goaltenders that kind of exhibited that style of play, and then it just kind of seems to go away to where all the goalies look the same and they're kind of just statues sitting in the crease. And then secondly, do you think this is possibly Lindy Ruff's best coaching job of all the teams he's ever had? And do you think that the streak, along with the hot play as of late, would have happened anyways if Adams was still here? Or do you think the combination of Lindy Ruff doing a fantastic job would have made it happen it was a catalyst that Adams got fired that really put it over the top?
Well, there's a lot to unpack there. I've said repeatedly when asked on and off the air that I don't think you can overstate the impact Adams' removal has had on the team. I just think that they were a laughingstock, and I think the players knew it. And I think not only removing him, but replacing him with Kekalainen, and then who say what you want. I mean, he doesn't have like cup rings hanging from the ceiling, but he's a respected hockey professional. And then doubling down on that by bringing Bergevin in as well. I just think the credibility means a lot, and it's harder to have your peers laughing at you, which I think was happening around the league. So Adams needed to go. I know there's no unit of measure I can show you that proves it, but I just think that they were a soulless, dead group with Adams at the top of it, and his removal breathed life into them. So that's my story. It's a story. Again, I don't have anything to really back it up other than the results. And it could just be a coincidence. Maybe they were ready to blast off if Adams had never left. I don't know. He did make the moves. And bring every player here is a player that he, drafted or signed or traded for. So there is that. Why aren't there guys like Hasek? The position has just changed. I think Hasek. I don't know if he talks about it in the movie. You could tell us, Mike, if he does, if you remember how the position has changed and how it's coached now. I know he talked on a broadcast recently around the premiere of the movie about how Alex Lyon is a much better goalie than him, just technically speaking. The position is coached differently now. It's very technical, and you need to have that part of the game buttoned up if you're going to climb the ranks and get any kind of attention from junior teams or colleges or ultimately the NHL. So I'm not saying there won't ever be a guy that'll break that mold, but it is very much like play the butterfly, square to shooters, track the puck, attention to your details around the posts and all these kinds of things. And there just isn't the freelance ability. And the position to me has never been stronger, even though there's not someone as incredible as Hasek.
Hasek himself said a lot of that when he was in town.
Okay.
Just like, they're all better than me, kind of that thing. But it's too bad. I mean, this is really all of sports. Everybody has the same baseball swing, golf swing. I mean, there are exceptions, but it's all too, I don't want to say too, like it's not fun at all anymore, but it used to be way more fun.
Yep.
Because there was way more variance in how players played. And it just sort of makes logical sense when you consider how much more money goes into development from a very young age in pretty much every sport. And then even at the pro level, the highest level, we got to get you to not hit ground balls anymore, son. Like, it's just
right.
It's kind of how everything is. And I don't know. It's a little bit sad.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that.
Watching Dom, even if you don't go back that far, is really a pleasure because it's so different. He's just constantly on his back, kicking up pad saves and using his head to make saves, just like literally.
Yeah.
Incredible. And he was the best. Not only was he different, a lot of guys are different or were different, but he was the best.
Yeah, right. It worked. It just absolutely worked. I think if you get a guy that the challenge is getting someone who plays like that through the system now.
Yeah.
And so someone coming up, you're gonna be forced into the box, pretty much the box of the coaching and the technical aspects of the position, and therefore the opportunity to prove that your way will work is just going to be extremely minimal if it exists at all. You're just going to get stonewalled. Like you're not going to be taken seriously as a prospect, and so that's the dilemma. So I don't know that we'll ever know if that style could work now.
We'll take a break for the update and be right back. 803-0550 for your calls. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, WGR.
Just about 4.5 minutes left between USA and Latvia and the States. They have opened up the floodgates. They lead that game 5-1. Tage Thompson did get on the score sheet, scores on the power play. That gave the U.S. their third goal. And then also going on right now, Germany, they lead Denmark 3-1. That game is also very late in the third. We'll get more on what we saw today from the hockey as Paul Hamilton will join the show at 6. Earlier this morning, though, we did have two other games. Switzerland got the morning started with a 4-1 win over France, and then Canada. They take down Czechia 5-0. Bad news, though, for the Canadians. Defenseman Josh Morrissey sustained an injury. He did not return. Head coach John Cooper said Morrissey tried to come back but could not. Now they're just hoping it is not serious. Canada, though, cannot add an injury replacement due to having started their first game. And your current medal count does see Italy in the lead with 17 medals. Norway and the United States are tied for second with 14. Norway, though, still has the lone lead with the most gold medals won with 7. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Headlines. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
Seconds gone by on the penalty. Second power play for Team USA. They had 2 shots in their first. Here's Eichel. Now Tage Thompson. Backhand shot up top. He scores!
Kenny Albert, Tage Thompson scores in this eventual USA win over Latvia. 5-1 is the score late in the third. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here. The women play tomorrow. It's into the quarterfinals now. Round robin is over on the women's side. USA, Italy. That's, you say, an afternoon game?
Yeah, I just saw that, so that'll be on at the same time. Canada is playing somebody. I don't know who they're playing tomorrow, but Canada's playing at 3:10 tomorrow afternoon. And I will definitely want to watch the women's game over that, even though I loved watching Canada play earlier, but I'll be more interested in the women in a medal round game than I would Canada in a
You're saying Canadian men?
Canadian men are playing tomorrow at 3:10 in the afternoon. I'm just not – I can't remember who they're playing.
Togo.
I don't know.
Got a sponsor's exemption.
That might not be right.
Togo. Love to see it.
No, I you know what? I have it here. I have the schedule. They're playing Switzerland tomorrow, Canada.
Switzerland. So who's that going to be?
That is Nico Hischier from New Jersey, their captain, New Jersey's captain. I don't know if he's the captain of the Swiss team. He very well may be. Niederreiter, I think, is on that team.
Roger Federer.
Okay, sure.
Honorary captain.
Yeah. Who was the there's a female tennis player that I'm thinking of, the Swiss Miss. Who was that? Her nickname was the Swiss Miss, I think. Does that not ring a bell?
Hingis.
Yes, Martina Hingis. Right.
That took me a minute.
Yeah. I couldn't think of the name. I kept thinking of Monica Seles. I'm like,
Swiss
I know
Miss.
That's not it. The Swiss Miss.
I liked Martina Hingis.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Welcome to the show, Martina Hingis.
The Swiss Miss. I don't know. There might be a couple of other NHLers there, but those are the names that I looked at the roster earlier today because they were playing maybe France today. I think. Anyway.
Who was playing France?
The Swiss. The Swiss men, I think.
Okay. And they won.
Yeah, I think so.
France.
Welcome to the Olympics, the French hockey team.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know what's going on there with NHLers. I'm not, none spring to mind.
Are there teams here maybe where I'm thinking there would be? Perhaps the coaches are not of the same nationality as the players, like when Ted Nolan coached this team, Latvia.
Yeah.
There would be some of that. There is that in curling. I noticed today watching Switzerland beat the U.S. men. I mean, they schooled the U.S. men today, Schwaller, those guys. But I'm sorry, you know me with the name dropping when it comes to Olympic curling. But they show the coach like, oh, that's Glenn Howard, who is Canadian. He's coaching the Switzerland team. The woman who coached the mixed doubles Americans that won silver is Canadian. So I think there's probably a lot of that in curling. Maybe less so in hockey. But if you have France and Italy and some of these lesser teams, they might have North American coaches. I don't know. Not something that's that important. People are driving home right now from a tough day at the office, and they're listening to us try to figure out who the Denmark coaches are and that. I don't think we need to stay there. I slipped in. If you find anything interesting there, you might be looking that up. Let me know. We were talking about NFL free agency and how, arguably, at least, I guess, the wide receiver position is thinner for, like, great ideas than running back or tight end, And I mentioned that Travis Kelce is on the list of unrestricted free agents at tight end. I don't know what is being reported, if anything, about him, but that kind of seemed, well, maybe this is last year too. It kind of seemed like one where the season ended and it went so badly for the Chiefs that he was maybe just going to call it. And that didn't happen.
Right.
So what's out there? Like, is there some expectation that he'll play or maybe even play somewhere else? Could that happen?
I have not heard a single bit of speculation about him playing anywhere else. Therefore, my default setting on the subject would be if he's playing for the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs probably have said that, and I maybe I just haven't seen it, or I don't remember if I've seen it. But like, we'll welcome him back if he wants to play. It would be my guess. I can't fathom that he would say, I want to keep playing, and they say no, and then therefore he hits the market. That would blow my mind. I've not seen any speculation about that. I think the only speculation is, does he want to play? If so, here's 87 in your locker. You're our tight end one.
Well, there is a day that comes where they wouldn't do that.
Mm-hmm.
We were talking about Dawkins earlier.
Right.
And it's not like you get that privilege forever.
Right.
And if Dawkins entered somewhat of a decline last year, then maybe there's a discussion that gets had. He's under contract. Kelce did have 76 catches for the Chiefs, and he played every game.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't big numbers. It isn't going to be that anymore, like yardage or anything, but he easily led them in receptions and yards. Maybe that's enough.
Yeah.
That would be, it's their choice. What does he mean to the organization? Even off the field, of course, in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
He's probably very valuable to them. But eventually it wouldn't just be,
right.
If you want to play, you can play.
Right. I think we're still there with him. That's the sense I get. Right now, I would say I'd be very surprised if he's not playing for them in September. And equally surprised if he were playing somewhere else. I think he's probably back on the Chiefs, is what I would guess at this point.
What are we going to do with the Chiefs this offseason? Are they still the Chiefs to us? Is that like a non-event that they were not in the playoffs? Everybody has a bad day?
I don't think it's a non-event. I think it'll really... I'm curious to see how they react to it. If they react at all. Like, do they want to make their receiving core over? Even with their fancy Xavier Worthy instead of Keon Coleman? Like I've been so mad about. Like, maybe they want to redo the whole thing. Right? I mean, Hollywood Brown, they shouldn't be attached to that. Rashee Rice, I don't know. I don't know what you want to be expecting there at this point.
He's interesting in drafts, Rice. Like, what is it? Is he in trouble again?
I feel like there was. I want to Google. I feel like there was another thing. And if there wasn't another thing, then maybe details of the other things. I think there's something new that happened. I think there is like Rashee Rice danger somewhere out there. Did you just
go
looking?
I'm just listening. I'm trying to find where he went in this draft I'm in.
Okay.
They did something to this format that makes it tougher to find out. Maybe he's still available. Oh, no, he's not. He's definitely not available. He went with the first pick of the third round. Rice. Wide receiver 12. Ahead of A.J. Brown, T. Higgins, Jamison Williams, Tet McMillan. Would you draft Rashee Rice around ahead of Tet McMillan?
Okay, here I've got the he had the six game suspension this year for the street racing incident. The newer allegations were abuse from a partner, mother of his 2 children, Instagram post, pictures, bruises, scratches, ugly. She says she faced abuse while she was pregnant. I'm so tired of keeping quiet. I'm tired of protecting his image. These are quotes from the Instagram post. I don't know where that stands, but that was I think late in the season or maybe even after the season ended.
Okay. Do you think the Patriots go forward with Stephon Diggs? He has a contract, not a free agent.
I think if they feel like whatever the offseason with the packet of stuff on the boat and whatever wasn't too much of a headache, then yeah, I would think that they also need help at the position, and I think he could still have an important role for them.
It looks like they could save pretty good money by cutting him. 9.7 dead, but what, like $26 million cap hit in the first place? He did have 1,000 yards.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think about this a lot with them. We talked about it the day after the Super Bowl. Are they a destination, the Patriots? For a receiver, at least. Are they a destination? There aren't many receivers that seem like they're worth a lot going into free agency, but when you look at New England, and maybe you have the chance to be like a clear number 1, depending on who you are, does that excite you? I've got a quarterback that is pretty good, if not very good. Winning coach. Why do I hesitate on this? They don't seem like any fun, the Patriots. I think other teams would be way more fun to play for, but what is that?
Yeah. I think they'll be a very appealing destination. I think the quarterback has, some extent he, hurt himself with how he played down the stretch here, in the playoffs. By stretch, I mean the playoffs. But he's still, he was second in the MVP voting. It looks to be a very dangerous, accurate, deep ball thrower. So if I'm a hotshot receiver and Mike Vrabel just took them to the Super Bowl in his first year there, that's going to work for me. I think. I would not expect a free agent receiver to go, they don't look like fun.
No? Okay.
Like you did. I think I would find it pretty appealing if I were a hot receiver name.
What does it pay?
And they'll have the money to probably overpay if it's needed, because they've got a ton of cap room still. I mean, you don't want to get sloppy with that, but you could get indulgent there, I think, if you're them.
New England. We will talk to Paul Hamilton at 6. Team USA pulls away from Latvia. 5-1 the final. Tage Thompson with a goal. Canada won its game easily. First of the tournament as well, beating Czechia. 5-0. So Paul coming up. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here. WGR. 12 or 13 minutes.
I'm prepared to ask him about Canada too, just so you know. I don't want to get in any trouble.
Well, never ask a question you don't know the answer to. Hopefully Paul watched that game too. I'm sure he did.
I know he did. He was tweeting about it as it was going on.
We were talking about jerks earlier. This is not related to Paul. This is about Sabres history.
At least not at the moment.
Or even their present state and whether they have enough jerk density, as it was put by Zach earlier today from Trainwreck Sports in a tweet. Jerk density. And, we got through some names. Barnaby's pretty famous in their history for this. Caller brought up Michael Pekka. How about Coletta?
Yeah, somebody was on hold to bring that up. I don't know if you saw that or not. And we didn't get to it, but that works. Barnaby was a better player early in his career here than Coletta ever was, but he definitely was, just better. Producing points. But Coletta definitely had, big time. Big time. Like, there were times I can remember even arguing with Sabres fans about whether he deserved to get clocked by this guy or that guy. And I think, I don't know that he would, I don't know him well enough. I know him a little bit. But I've never asked him, did you feel like you deserved to get sucker punched every now and then? Because he played a game that probably warranted it, I think. I'd hope he would tell you that. I don't know. Again, I don't know well enough to know. But.
In this sport, I don't need to tell you that can be a net win.
You're right. Exactly. Yeah.
That's what we're trying to do is get you off your game. That's what everything around the net is supposed to be meant for, right? So you don't go back in there or you might get tilted a little bit. I don't think it's common, but that's the premise, I think. Also, Doug Gilmour.
Ooh, yeah, that was a...
Did he spend most of his jerk years before coming to the Sabres, though? How much jerk did he have left in him?
I don't remember him being real jerky when he was here. And I think I would have noticed. And he was such a diminished player from what he had been earlier in his career by the time he got here that maybe the jerk quotient sort of dropped with his overall play. You're less willing to be that level of jerk if you're not producing.
Level of jerk.
but I don't know. There was for a top line scoring player, which he was. He was edgy. He was a little guy that made room for himself. Is a polite way to put it, I guess.
So good when he was in his prime. I loved those Leafs teams, and he was the man. Not Clark. It was Gilmour on that team. St. Louis, Calgary, Toronto, New Jersey, Chicago, Buffalo, Montreal, Toronto. One game for the Leafs. Yeah. And it wasn't ceremonial. He got hurt, I think.
Okay, wow.
I think it was one game, maybe a deadline move. The Leafs did a lot of that. Housley and Leach and Gilmour, the players. Right. They just went out to the Legends bracket and brought them all in.
Yeah.
And a desperate attempt to stay good. Ultimately, they were foiled.
Is it I think of him, and this is not an example of him being edgy necessarily. He was the recipient and then defended by a teammate. But is it that conference final series against the Kings where McSorley gets him middle of the ice in the Kings zone on a rush, and then Wendell Clark jumps in?
Yeah. Game one?
I don't remember
in the Gardens.
Oh, yeah, right, in the Gardens. So. That is a highlight that if I see it, I don't feel the same way as I did when I was watching that live. I don't feel the same way about fighting anymore in the sport, but that is one that still sort of makes the hair on the back of my neck stand up. Just because McSorley's a giant, Clark is a legend, but he was... Well, how big was he? 5'10", 5'11"? Clark was not a big guy, but he fought Probert and all the big names, and he's right there to just get in there with McSorley after that, and it was just such a it's a moment.
I can never talk about that series. It's still too soon. It's still too fresh. 1993. Oh, the whole You got Gretzky in the finals, but, man, Toronto versus Montreal in 93 for the Cup.
Right.
Oh, so close. Carrie Fraser. So close. All right, got to stop. I got to go get some air after this one.
Yes.
Paul Hamilton next on WGR.
The United States takes down Latvia 5-1 to get their Olympic campaign underway. Tage Thompson gets on the score sheet with a power play goal. And next up for the States, they'll be in action on Saturday against Denmark. While tomorrow, the U.S. women, they'll take on Italy in the quarterfinals. Puck drop for that game is at 3:10. Going back to the men's side of things, we did have 3 other games today. Got it going bright and early. Switzerland with a 4-0 win over France. Following that, Canada took down Czechia 5-0. But bad news for the Canadians. Defenseman Josh Morrissey sustained an injury. He did not return. Head coach John Cooper said Morrissey did try to come back, but was unable to. Now they're hoping it's not serious. Canada, though, cannot add any injury replacement due to having started their first game. And then going on, while the U.S. was playing Latvia, Team Germany, they take down Denmark 3-1. We'll get more on the hockey as Paul Hamilton will join the show next. And then your current medal count sees Italy in the lead with 17, and then Norway and the United States. They are tied for second with 14 each. Norway, though, still has the sole lead with most gold medals won with 7. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
We interrupt this 1993 Maple Leafs rabbit hole, and we'll get back to work now. Paul Hamilton on the West Her Hotline. Olympic hockey is here. Paul, did you love it? Are you loving the pros being back?
Not yet. Too many blowouts. I mean, we haven't seen a real competitive game yet, but it's coming. We'll see one.
It's coming. Right, that's the schedule at work.
Yeah, the scores have ended up pretty crooked. But I thought for the first period anyway, and even into the second, before Canada pulled away, Czech Republic was, I thought they were in that game. Like it looked like a pretty competitive game, and then Canada just kind of overwhelmed them as they went. So I'm hopeful we'll see some good games. I don't know, how soon we'll see like tight games, but I mean, heck, Sweden and. Italy yesterday was 2-2 at one point. I mean, it ended up 5-2. But I think the skill is evident and the speed that Canada opened that game with, and then I thought was matched by the Czechs for a bit, was extremely hot. I'd say the same about Team USA.
I just marvel at Canada. I mean, they're 3 centers: Crosby, McDavid, and McKinnon. Are you kidding me?
Right.
I mean, it's just like. It takes me back to Gretzky, Lemieux, and Howardchuk when they were all on Team Canada for all those years. And, I mean, they have the 3 best centers in the National Hockey League, and they're all superstars. And Crosby and McDavid had 5 assists between the 2 of them. It's just
it's pretty incredible that Crosby still belongs in that company with how good McKinnon and McDavid are and how much younger than him they are. And he still is producing like he produces. That is really what a career that guy's had.
Yeah, I mean, if you are numbering lines, McKinnon is centering the 3rd line. Really? I mean, come on.
Well, how about Tage Thompson scoring a goal? How did he look to you for USA?
Yeah, that was a nice shot.
Great play.
Backhand under the crossbar. Wow, and he and Eichel on the power play, both power plays, look like they've been together the whole time and never been apart. I mean, it's very obvious they've played together. And Eichel has got the assist on Thompson's goal. Eichel knew right where he would be, got the puck to him, but just to roof a backhand like he did over an NHL goaltender was just a great shot by him. And he had a couple other chances too throughout the game. Had a couple blocked. He got a good chance at a one-timer. I forgot who set him up, but somebody set him up with a real good chance for a one-timer that he let go from the high slot.
Yep.
And the Merzlikins made the save on that one. But, yeah, he looked good.
Yeah, I'm thrilled to see him on Power Play 1, Paul. I mean, I did not always think as this season was unfolding here back in, like, November that he was a lock to be on the team. And then once he was named to the team, I wasn't sure that they wouldn't defer to, the grit guys or something, and that he wouldn't get in there. But he got in, and he's furthermore on the first power play unit and then scored a power play goal. So I think until further notice, that dude is in your lineup, which is excellent news for Sabres fans who want to watch him.
Yeah, the World Championships, I think, sealed it for him, especially when he gets the golden goal. I think he's in anyway, even without the golden goal.
Mm-hmm.
But once he scored that, I thought, there's no way he's not going to be on the team.
You talked about the play he made on his goal. I mean, I thought it was especially good because he fans on it, and I guess you'll have to see it. I can't describe it perfectly, I'm sure. But instead of just sort of going back to plan A and trying to sort of overpower in front of the net on the forehand, he just sort of very neatly flipped a backhand up top, like you said. And that was also pretty good patience and, of course, good hands.
And goal scorers can't explain it. I've talked to so many goal scorers. I've played with them. I've talked to them. It's just such natural talent. They don't know how they do it. They just have the knack of scoring goals. They have the knack of finding the open spots. And they have the knack of finding the open spots in the net. And you can teach goal scoring to a point to get guys to the net so they can tip pucks and that kind of thing. But you're not going to teach a guy who normally scores 10 goals to score 30. I mean, it's just you either have that kind of a talent, you have those kind of hands, or you don't. And most goal scorers really can't explain it to you.
It looks like, well, we saw on that goal at least, that he plays down low on that unit. And with the Sabres, he's in that top of the circle
shooter spot. Right.
It's interchangeable. He and Eichel interchanged. And again, it's familiarity. They know each other. When Eichel had set up Matthews for the power play goal, they had switched. So, and I noticed that on both power plays, they kind of go back and forth.
I'm sort of selfishly hoping all his goals come from where he scored today, because his percentages on the Sabres power play are terrible, which is really weird for
from
a guy
that
that can score.
Yeah, right.
But their power play is just kind of bad for the most part, and it seems like they might be misusing their best guys. I wonder if we'll see Thompson.
I think what's happening is other teams are taking him away, and then they're not doing anything to, he scored a goal the other day where he came out from the corner, and I was sitting with Owen, and I was pounding my head against the wall, and Owen heard me the whole game saying, "Bring it to the net, bring it to the net." I kept saying it. Well, Thompson finally brought it to the net. He knows how to pick a spot like that. And the other team will let them do it because they know they won't. They very rarely do it. Tuck is one of those. Ostlund is one of those. Now Thompson is one of those.
Doan has one, too.
They very rarely do it, but it's open because the other team gives it to them.
Josh Doan went between the legs on one. Same thing.
Yes.
From the goal line right to the front. Yeah, we've talked about this before. That is... Defenders don't expect you, I think around the league, it's not just playing against the Sabres. I think largely, of course, if you're scouting a team and you see them do it all the time, then you're more ready for it. But I think night to night in the league, that play is there because defenders just don't expect you to take it. So you should just go there. And I think the last time we talked about this, you made the point, even if you don't score on that shot, you've got now everyone is now crashing and it's a schmozzle, and maybe you'll get, a bounce go your way and you can tuck one in.
And now you've got the other team worried about it.
Right.
It just gives them one other thing to worry about with a goal scorer who can just slip the puck into a very short space.
Did you get to see Dahlin's performance yesterday? 3 assists.
Yes, did very well. He was on one power play that I remember, but still isn't going special teams. Played just under 20 minutes, but I love the one assist where he just curled into the slot and came right down the slot.
Yep.
Made the save, and then he just kicks it over to the goal scorer, and, they wound up scoring. I don't know if that was Zibanejad's goal. No, it wasn't. I can't think of who scored. It doesn't matter. But it was Nylander's goal. He just kicked the puck to him, and, it wound up being he's wide open, and he scored.
Yeah, he really made the play on that goal. I think it's the same one I'm thinking of that you're describing here, where he just made a couple of guys miss and just was got the puck to the front of the net and got it over to the goal scorer. So, yeah, I think he and Forsling, I think, are the number one pair there now. Hedman's been nursing injuries. Carlson, and I'm not upset about him still holding down power play 1 minute over Dahlin. If you're going to have Carlson on your team.
He's an offensive player.
Right.
And a darn good one.
That's what he's there for, right? So that makes sense. But I do feel like Dahlin and Forsling will be the guys that they're leaning on maybe the most as this thing unfolds.
And Dahlin was very, very active in the offensive zone. Probably the most active I've seen him in any game this year.
Yep.
He was in deep quite a bit.
Loved it.
Just very, very active, skating a lot. And Forsling and he act like they've played together for 10 years because they never got caught because Forsling was there for them.
You know, the goaltending, especially with Canada, Paul, I want to ask you what you thought of Binnington because he's having a terrible year, and he wasn't having a great year last year when he led Canada to the Four Nations Championship. Here we are again, and I think I saw a quote from Canada's coach, John Cooper, asked, when did you decide that Binnington was going to be your starter in the first game of the Olympics? And he said 358 days ago. Something to that effect. Like, I think alluding to after we won the Four Nations is when I realized that I was going to go with Binnington. And so he's telling you, it doesn't matter what he's doing in the regular season. I'm going to lean on this guy. And I don't know, maybe at some point that'll bite them. But I thought when that game was close, he was excellent for them. I mean, I know the score ends up crooked, but it could have been a different game if he allows a goal or two in the first 40 minutes or so.
I can't explain it. I can't explain how he's so bad at times.
Right.
And then he gets into these games, and he's phenomenal. And he's earned the right. He's earned the right to get the first chance for Canada, I think. I mean, look at when St. Louis won the Stanley Cup, how good he was. I think he came up from the minors in January.
Yes, that's
when
right.
St. Louis was in last place. He came up from the minors, and next thing you know, he stands on his head and wins him a Stanley Cup. And then the Four Nations, which you mentioned, and he's having an awful season with the Blues, but steps in, gets a 26-save shutout, I believe it is, and did have to make some good saves along the way. It's just he's a big-time goaltender. When the chips are down, he's there.
Yeah. Yeah, not only did he get called up for the minors that year, Paul, but he had been loaned out of the St. Louis. St. Louis didn't have a spot for him,
That's
so
right.
they loaned him to the Bruins. He was playing in the minors for the Bruins, just on loan, and then they got injury trouble and they needed him and they called him back, and then the rest is history, which is really incredible. It really says a lot. I mean, Mike's been making the point way before I ever thought of it about the volatility of the position, like that a guy could be buried that deep. Like not even you think so little of him that you don't even have a spot for him on your minor league affiliate. You're sending him to another organization so he can play. That is crazy.
And then this year he's been bad most of the year, but hey, getting the crease for Team Canada, and you look like Patrick Waugh. I mean, it's crazy how he just comes to the table when he's needed the most.
864. Almost the worst save percentage in the NHL. 8 wins in 30 starts this year for St. Louis.
Team Canada's a lot better in front of him
Sure.
than the St. Louis Blues are,
Yes.
but still.
Yeah.
Still, he's got to make these saves, and he was.
Yeah, I think it takes a lot for a coach like Cooper to go to a guy who's playing that badly, and to have it pay off is like, you got scoreboard forever on that if you're Cooper, provided it keeps continues here. And I don't know that he'll have to play every game of this thing, but clearly game one of the Olympics, he's their guy. Maybe they'll use the other guys here in the prelims before they get to the medal round, but they get to the medal round, he's going to be playing, I would think.
And look at the numbers the backup has put up for the last couple of years in the NHL. He's been phenomenal, but it's just. I think, Cooper said it. He's earned the right to have the crease be the first guy to get the crease.
That's Logan Thompson, right, from Washington?
Yes.
Right.
We're in Olympics mode here and talking about Sabres players who are representing and the tournament. We'll get soon enough to the Sabres return. I'm not trying to rush this. Less than 2 weeks. And then the deadline, Paul, March 6th. 3 o'clock in the afternoon on March 6th is the trade deadline. Do you have thoughts on what the Sabres should want to look for?
I think they need a defense. I think for the rest of this year, Kesselring has to be basically your extra. I just don't think they're at a point in the season now that they can't be sitting around waiting for him to find his game. And he's said on the record that he's playing hurt and will for the rest of the year. So I would just bring him back in training camp and start over. I mean, if you had to use him. But
yeah,
I'd be looking for a defenseman that I could, even a rental even, that can help take some of these minutes away from the top 4 guys who are all since the middle of January playing well over 23 minutes. And I think it's catching up to him with this schedule. So I would be looking for that. I would be looking for something to back up my top 9 because I don't think they have a lot of depth when it comes to that. And maybe that player can help you on the power play, although the power play has woken up a little bit recently. But maybe a guy that can win a faceoff for you every now and then because they're the worst in the league at winning faceoffs. So part of that is they got Danforth to do that, and he's played 4 games because of his injury.
Norris is supposed to be a good draw guy too.
He hasn't been this year, but yes, every other year he has been.
Yeah. Well, I'd say the sooner the better on that defenseman point, because if you end up needing Kesselring, like maybe it would do him good. I don't know. You're saying he said he's going to be playing hurt the rest of the year. Maybe if he rests from like now until I don't know, April, maybe you can get more out of him if you end up needing him because someone else goes down. But I'm with you. Like I think there's like one little pocket of a game I remember when he had come back from an injury and then sort of started picking up steam, and I thought, oh, this is the guy. Right, I saw him up in the play, kind of like the other 4 guys often are, and his skating looked better. Okay, this is it, and then he got hurt again right away, and that was the end of that. And we've not seen him since, and really, he's been way too often at the scene of the crime.
And I want to stress, I'm not giving up on this guy
right,
at all.
Sure.
He's just been hurt three different times.
Yeah,
he's still fighting an injury. I just think they're at a point in the season they can't wait any longer, and I think, if he starts off training camp healthy, he'll be just fine.
Paul, before you go, do you have a second favorite Olympic sport, Winter Olympic sport?
I like the figure skating just because I was around figure skaters, being around the rink since I was 7 years old. Actually dated one, and, so I enjoyed that. I like Bates and Chalk, watching them do their thing the past couple of days. My sister was a figure skater, too, so I've enjoyed that so far.
All right.
Good deal.
The team figure skating was fun too.
Fine choice. Probably, maybe the most popular Winter Olympics event would be figure skating, right, Bulldog? Would you say?
Number
1?
It's so prominent on the primetime coverage. Like
not curling.
Anytime that it's happening, they've got anything to show you. Yeah, and you've got the Malinin quad god. I mean, he's just going to be everywhere. Yeah. That's Friday night, I think, or Friday during the day. Our time
tomorrow.
It'll be
mixed
on.
Curling was so fun. I mean, the U.S. won the silver medal, and she was the first female to ever win a curling medal for the U.S.
Yep.
But the match that got them into the gold medal, they were down by 1 in the last frame on the last shot. And she not only knocks them out, but puts 2 in. Italy was the favorite and were the defending champions. She knocked them out and put 2 in to win and put them in the gold medal match. That was so much fun to watch.
Corey Tisi is the name. Very good.
All right, Paul. We'll catch up with you again soon.
Okay, take care, guys.
There's our Paul Hamilton on the Wester Hotline. His appearances on WGR brought to you by Equitable Advisors. Planning for your future is about more than just money. Let Equitable be your guide, and by Relax Honda. Relax, we got this.
If you don't know, our old friend Matthew Collar's wife, Sloan Martin, who worked here too, she worked at BEN as a reporter, is one of the broadcasters for the curling for NBC. If you watch this afternoon, USA women, they lost to Sweden. She was on the call of that game. I've been talking to Matt. I've been talking to Sloan through Matt.
Trying to exert some influence over the curling calls?
I suppose I'd have to say yes to that. Everyone's very excited. She's not in Italy. She's in Connecticut.
That's too bad.
A lot of these announcers are in Connecticut. the NBC compound.
I didn't even think of that when you first, I think I found out from you, or maybe Matthew on Twitter, whatever. I thought like, wow, that's so cool. I wonder if Matthew gets to go to Italy with her. Yeah, he's not going to Italy. I don't know that Matthew would need to go to Stanford or wherever they are.
He is not. Neither is he in Stanford. He's home with the Greyhounds.
Okay. Right.
They have Greyhounds, or at least one.
Right, a rescue. Yeah.
And he's like, yeah. I'm here. We're doing the podcast. It's like half his face is on the screen. He's sort of falling back. We're hanging on. Wife is away for 3 weeks. We're hanging on, making it work. Purple Insider continues. These fantasy shows with you are keeping me alive here, Mike.
Wow. Very dramatic.
He didn't say any of those things.
No.
He didn't. None of that is true. But it ended today, was the last one for the season. And we did talk about next year, Bulldog. I know you love that subject. Justin Jefferson. So Jefferson Paul had to leave early, so I get a minute for this, unless you stop me. Jefferson is falling to the second round. And, that might make common sense because McCarthy was terrible and
don't know what they're going to do moving forward.
No one knows the play there. He always gets, and O'Connell, the coach, always gets the benefit of the doubt, though, with that offense and how they work together. And we know how good Jefferson is. But he's a victim of, if you think of the other receivers at the top of the list, this would be Jamar Chase, Puka Nacua, Jackson Smith and Jigba, CeeDee Lamb, Amon-Ra St. Brown, 5 easy names that go in or around the first round. I mean, most of those guys all go in the first round of drafts, as they did last year. They all have the same situation coming back, mostly. The Rams will have a different offensive coordinator, if that matters. But Smith and Jigba, quarterback, Kubiak.
Right.
Quarterback situation, the general framework is going to be the same. Cincinnati, Detroit. Even Malik Neighbors, that's a different coach, but he's somebody that gets up there.
Right? Yeah.
Whereas Jefferson, who knows?
Riddler suit. Yeah, you don't know what the hell you're doing there.
So I think I'll want to draft Jefferson and bet on the upside and that they figure something out that works. Because last year was pretty much rock bottom there for what he can be. And he's cheaper.
Does trading for him get any traction?
How could they do it, Minnesota? Could they really do that? I guess they could. The contract is big, and who knows what the quarterback thing is good. I just feel like that would be a PR disaster.
I definitely agree, but I guess if you're stuck in the mud quarterback-wise, it's tough.
And they do have the recent history of the Diggs trade to hold up as proof that it can work out.
It's the only reason why I know Matthew always pushed back at the idea last offseason. Any idea of trading him. They're going to sign him. Of course they're going to sign him. They're not going to, what are you doing at quarterback? Do you have quarterback nailed down? Because if you pay a receiver, and the best receiver in the game, arguably, a top-of-market contract, and your quarterback isn't all set, that's a risk. And they took it, and now look where they are.
Matt Perino, Syracuse.com, joined us earlier. We'll have that conversation for you next here on WGR.